for something, Betty? For relief, Mrs. Rollins, try this. Preparation H?
Pain, itching?
Sure, try this. Preparation
My
H?
nickname should be Preparation H because I really do. Look, I have a whole. I have notes here. You know?
Feeling better today? Thanks to you and Preparation H.
Back in form, Bill?
Thanks to you and Preparation H.
Print images of friends with Comics Wellspring.
And yeah, this was printed with Comics Wellspring. Came out beautiful.
High quality stuff. People think it's fantastic. All the books that you see at my table are through Comics Wellspring.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots, promoter for the Plastic City Comic-Con. And with me, as always, Johnny C., creator of Sartana, Surrounded by Death, and The Pond. For who, Johnny?
My good cousin, Roger Morocco.
Absolutely. And our third co-host, Harry G., graphic artist extraordinaire. What's up, fellas? How's it going,
guys?
How's it going?
We got a nice packed show tonight. We got 3 guests tonight, which is amazing, you know. Yeah. One thing I think I mentioned it to you guys in the emails and the messages that since we have 3 guests tonight, I thought like maybe we could just do a general discussion about comic book covers, what makes a good cover, things like that. Because we got, 2 cover artists that have done covers for Image, IDW, Archie, Dynamite, you name every small publisher out there, Scout, Mad Cave, they've done like a variant for, which is awesome. They're called Angry Dad Comix. And then our third guest is returning guest H.H. German from the Here Comes Calico comic that I loved that I was raving about like last year. And he knows what great covers are because that series had awesome covers too. So I thought, maybe we could talk about that tonight. But before we bring him in, and what's going on with you fellas? You got the whole set right there? Nice, Johnny.
Bingo.
I love it. Nice. Did you pick that up at Wicked?
These are the ones that you lent me.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah. I read through these. This is a good series. I dug the hell out of this book.
Right? Didn't it feel like 80s Punisher, but like if the Punisher went after animal abusers instead? Yeah, it was great,
for
right?
Sure. Like all the intense moments were like they paid off. You know what I mean? Like for every time there was like a moment where like there was some animal abuse where you're like, oh God, that's brutal. It's like you got the vengeance that was deserved. Like it's such a good book.
And
Just
I love
reading
newsprint. Like when I finished reading them all, like I had to go wash my hands. There was like ink all over my. I love that though. It smelled so nice, like I love the smell of newsprint.
There's a classic feel there to that old school. Even the scent of the paper.
Yeah, absolutely. Harry, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say, it reminded me like when I was reading the description of it, like the Batman or Punisher, but also Ghost Rider too, because like those guys got ultimate punishment. Either you're guilty or you're not.
Yeah,
if you're guilty, then you're done.
Well, I liked him too. He's a street level hero, but he had like tech like Iron Man, and also but he was also a fighter too. So it was good stuff. Like, we'll definitely take a look at the Kickstarter. He's so close to hitting too, and the Kickstarter is for the graphic novel of that entire series,
the collected edition. Yep.
Yeah, which is cool. Like I feel like if you're waiting for the trade, this is a good one to get. So we'll recommend that to the audience tonight. Before we bring them in, let's take a look and say hello to the chat real quick. We got Creators Outlet with us tonight. Hail nerds. We got Amy's Birdhouse in the chat, of course. Hello, all. Look at this. We got Ara in the chat. Greetings, all.
Ara, what's up, man?
Saw Ara briefly at Retro Expo on Saturday. It was nice to see him. Good show. I had a good time. I was hoping you'd show up, Johnny, but I knew it was kind of a hike for you, and I didn't know if you were going to come down. But
I had hoped to, but my day was just so packed. I was thinking that if I had some free time, if I got through all my tasks and chores, I'd pop on down. But by the time I looked at the clock, I'm like, man, it's not worth the trip to go and come down, unfortunately.
yeah, well,
But
I mean, it was
it's a 1-day
90
show,
minutes.
so that's part of the thing too. It's like if you don't get that one day, then like you're.
Oh yeah, forget it.
But
It
I
was
like
90
1-day
minutes
shows.
for us, so it must
It's
have
not
been,
a slight on the show at all. Like Joe and Wendy.
Oh no,
not a great
not at
show.
all.
Yeah,
It's a great show. We've done it 3 times now, and
Where was
each
that?
time it's been profitable for us. It's in Rhode
Tiverton.
Island, Tiverton,
Okay.
I believe.
Tiverton.
Yeah, it looked
Rhode
like a
Island.
big,
Tiverton.
looked like a big auditorium or a big venue.
Oh yeah,
It's a
yeah. It was like
complex.
a
Yeah,
sports
it's
complex,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
kind of
Alright.
like the one that
kinda-
we had Plastic City in like last
Bingo.
year.
Mhm.
Bingo. It's like that.
Amy said it was great to see you at Retro. I agree. Johnny C's in the chat. Oh, look at this. We got Eric Boyd. Hello, Eric. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Eric.
Who else we got here? Our hail to the panel, he said. That's it. We're caught up on the chat. We got, about 15 people watching so far, but we'll go higher as we continue on.
Ramp up.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit. And what's interesting before we bring the guests in, like StreamYard's made some major changes too. I don't know if you got those notices, Johnny, but we're actually streaming in HD now, which is
Are we
cool.
really?
I thought so.
no longer 720. So if you
Oh,
got
God,
the
I'm
zits,
gonna-
you better pop them now.
I'm gonna have to start using makeup.
Yeah, right. Once it gets to 4K, forget it. I'm gonna, see all the zits and the scabs on our faces.
Yeah.
It's ruined a lot of movies for me. Let me just say, or hot girls when you see in a movie, and you're like, oh my god, when you see it.
You know what? You know what's funny? If a movie, like an old movie, is viewed on a very nice screen, depending upon the resolution, it doesn't always look better unless it was like they went back and they remastered it from the film. You know what I mean? Like there's sometimes where I've looked at an older movie on a nicer screen or HD or like a really poor transfer of it, and I'm like, wow, it would almost look better if I was watching this movie on a tube set. Like antiquated on a VHS with some imperfections, because it almost adds to the the nuance of the film itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to sound all meta, not to get all meta, but HD isn't really reality anyway, because people in real life aren't HD. They don't look that good as the HD screen. like
we also got Jessica Von Moucher in the
Hey,
chat.
Jess.
Jessica, thanks for joining. Oh yeah, Amy reminded me about this, and then we'll bring in the guests. We watched Darkman 4K. And Frances McDormand, you could see her mustache. That's how
my God, Jesus.
was.
Wow.
It was crazy. Like she had
Give me back the fucking pink elephant.
Yeah. Amazing.
The movie's great.
Oh, I love that movie. One of the best. All right. So without further ado, let's bring in tonight's guest. Let me start with our new guest tonight. I'm going to start first with Mr. Scott McFarland. Scott, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks for
absolutely.
coming on, Scott.
And then his partner in crime, Mr. Ken Berube. What's up, Ken?
Yes. How you doing?
Good. You cut out there a
I
little
have
bit.
Jet Black with me.
What's that?
Oh, and I have Jet Black. That's with me.
Oh,
Jet Black,
adorable.
Awesome. And then our third guest, Mr. H.H. German. What's up, H.H.? Good to see you again.
How is everyone? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming
man.
back on.
You hear
H.H.
us talking up Calico in the back there?
Absolutely. I love it when people talk Calico. Love it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we're not blowing smoke up there, man. It's a good book. I'm glad I got Johnny to read it, because now he could see what. When we originally had you on, I was so excited because I liked your book a lot. So I was like, Johnny, you got to check this out. So he finally got to read it. So
Keith also knew like context here. Keith also knew I'm a very big Punisher fan, so he knew I would like that book. And sure enough, when I read it, like it gave me all the Punisher vibes that that I love so much, and I'm missing in the modern day Marvel universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I look forward to talking comics with you guys tonight.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you for being here. And Ken, I just want to confirm, your dog's name is Jet Black?
That's correct. Yes, after the anime.
I was just gonna ask, is that from Cowboy Bebop? Awesome.
That's awesome. So the first, since you Ken and Scott are first time guests, we always love to know the origin of our guests, like how they kind of got to becoming like an artist. Like what started that journey for you guys? Was it a comic you read when you were a kid, or was it like a cartoon or a TV show, something like that? Or I mean,
yeah, for me it was X-Men. It's specifically John Byrne.
Oh, the John Byrne X-Men. No kidding. And it, like, you were so inspired. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, at a young age, there was something about his panels, especially the way he drew Wolverine, was just always struck me as that's awesome, and I want to make that.
Oh yeah, that scene where Wolverine was it the when he first was like I forget what happened. Where he ends up in the sewer and then he's just like the claws come out and he's like
the Hellfire Club. That's exactly what it was. It was that run, right, where he was like fighting solo, and that was just that was what made me want to draw stuff. It didn't make me want to be an artist, but that was the first time I sat down and I thought I want to do that.
That's awesome.
Just to be able to make images like that. Nothing else.
Well, right there, I attribute that moment to Wolverine's popularity. Like that moment is when he became just like,
totally.
He went from like a second tier character to like a plus character in that Byrne run. So good.
Yeah, totally agree. In my mind, without John Byrne, there's no Wolverine.
Yep, I
he'd
agree.
be another
100%
weird little like midget guy, from Canada.
Right? How about you, Scott? What was that young?
I don't know if there was one thing, but I mean, I loved cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. I always loved comics, mostly Marvel, to be honest. When I was younger, like the 70s Marvel, and toys.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things where, watching people work real jobs, I always thought I could try to get into a art job. It didn't work out for a long time, but we're doing it now. So
yeah, that's great. So did you guys always draw though when you were little? Like you? Oh, okay, perfect. So you kind of knew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like so for me, I started with comic strips like Peanuts and things like that. But then when I think I was in junior high when I read my first comic book, and I was like, no, I want to do this now. Like it was just like I can remember that moment being like, oh wow, I'm not bound by 3 panels anymore. I could do like a whole storyline, and you know what I mean, like. It just
I never thought of that.
Like,
if you cut this from the comic strip, you could have seen.
Yeah, no, like I was never into the comics. Like I was into the superheroes. Like the cartoons would be on, like Spider-Man and Hulk. I wasn't into it, and then for some reason, like the comics got me, and then I started watching the cartoons after that. But I used to just watch cartoons like I don't know, like Smurfs and Snorks and things like that, and then like kind of the lame ones now, like. But and then I found
that's pretty good that you admitted that.
Right. I love it all though. 80s stuff.
No, I used to watch all that stuff too. We grew up in the same era, so I used to watch all that stuff too, like Saturday mornings, like cartoons. Like there's never been anything like that since then. That's like the golden age of like cartoons.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I forget what your pick was. Was it a Punisher book, or was it like, or what was it that put you? What inspired you to start writing comics?
Well, a lot of things. The very first comic book that I remember, I was actually cognizant of that sort of made the bell ring was, I actually know the exact one. It's Avengers number 244. And this is back in the day. I'm from New York, if you can't tell from my accent. But back in the day, we had something called newsstands. And in the subway, this was the 6 train line on the east side of New York. We had quite a few of them. And my mother, I guess this was going to be a long ride. I lived all the way at the beginning. It was the first stop in the Bronx, Pelham Bay Station. Okay. So we would always have a very long ride, especially if we were going to be going into Brooklyn. We basically have to go through the whole city. And she got me a comic book, and it was Avengers 244. I was immersed. I'm sure I had comic books before that, but I think it was the first time that I had to sit down and really just be completely. Just imagine being in a New York City 6 train in the 80s. I don't know if you guys remember, but New York City in the 80s.
The Guardian Angels. Probably
yeah, that's all I remember.
That's all I remember. I just pictured the Warriors. Was it the Warriors?
Right.
It is. Right. So I shout out my cousin Roger at the top of every show. He was a Guardian Angel. With his array and everything, yeah. So he'd recount those stories. Absolutely, yeah. You actually, you've met Roger at conventions, but my older cousin there, yeah.
Yes, I right.
He was a Guardian Angel.
Look at that. Well, I believe that because he's a pretty big guy, and actually part of what we were talking about was about the the interaction and action of stuff. But imagine something so compelling that a comic book so compelling that you are completely you've got the blockers on in New York City going through in the 80s. So that's how impactful it was. I would say comics was a seminal part of my American story. I learned English well from comics. English is my third language, so it was the last one I learned. Oh my God, and comics played a very big part. Sesame Street and school as well. But if it wasn't for comics, I don't think I'd know half of the words at least I knew through elementary. And it opened up a fascinating world.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I'm actually the same way. My parents were from Greece, the Greek immigrants. So, they never spoke English around the house when I was growing up. So when I was getting ready to go to kindergarten, the only way that I learned to speak English was like watching Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and all that stuff, So that's how I learned too.
Yeah. But that immersion you talk about, like that is so huge for like a kid, and like it's life changing. Like I've had that immersion,
right.
And I'm sure Johnny has. I'm sure Ken and Scott have had. Maybe Harry. I don't know.
I've been immersed in things before.
I think we still have that moments when we pick up a comic that absolutely just like hits us. You know what I mean? We get so like wrapped up into
when
it.
You lose time, like when you put
time
the book
and
down
then you become obsessed with grabbing the next book.
Yeah.
Like the last time I really, really, really felt that was Walking Dead, the comics. When I first picked up those comics, I was like, oh my God! Like I just ate it up, quickly. Before that, the other one was The Preacher. Like, once I started reading Preacher, I was like, oh my God, I gotta read this whole
Preacher
thing.
was like that for me too.
Yeah. Watchmen, all the classics, like anything you can think of. But yeah, I don't, like you said, Johnny, it's not so much nowadays, but there's still a few. Like I'll get and I'll be like, that's really good, and I get blown away by it. But I love that. Like that, it's almost like it's we all went into like the netherworld or something, like while we're reading, or the negative zone or something, But yeah, no, I love that. So that's great stuff. And like tonight, like, one thing I wanted Scott and Ken to come on the show is like I work with Scott at the store. And I've known Ken for years. I actually met both of these guys at Terrificon, maybe about 10 years ago, maybe, guys? Is it? We were
getting close to that. Yeah.
It's got to be close to 10. Maybe not more than 10, but maybe a little less. But
that's right. We were like next to each other, right?
Yeah, we were next to each other. It's the first time I met you guys. And I remember that. That was like when Terrificon was still in the smaller.
Yeah, it was in the ballroom there.
Near the arena. Yeah.
This year was the 10th anniversary of Terrificon, I think, right? This past year?
No, it's next year. So
next year.
Maybe it's not 10 years. Maybe it was about 8 then. Maybe about 8. But yeah, no. What I was gonna say is like back then, you guys were just. I think Scott, you were just doing your sculptures, like because you make toys and. And then you guys were doing sketch cards, I think, and maybe sketch covers.
I didn't do sketch covers right away. Ken was into that before I was even.
Really? Was it just toys you guys had back then?
Yeah, I mean half our booth was actually yard sale stuff to try to make back some table, and then the other half was
collected
some of the
and later
toys.
regretted.
Absolutely.
So, but I just did the toys initially, and then I think it was our second or third Terrificon. We had a guy come to the booth, and Ken had like 30 sketch covers. I had 3.
Okay.
And the guy's like, I'll buy them all, and I'll buy
Wow.
anything you guys can make throughout the rest of the weekend.
Wow.
So awesome.
And so Ken's churning them out, and I'm sitting there. Oh, I think I got 2 more done all weekend, and Ken got another 8 or 10 done. So,
oh my God.
But that's when I was like,
I remember that going to bed at night and saying to Scott, "That's it? What do you mean you're going to bed?"
Yeah. Get that pencil going, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but and now you guys do covers for like all these small press companies, which is so I'm curious about what happened between when I saw you guys at that show and how you got to this point where like what was how did you guys get into the variant cover thing? Like were you guys approached by somebody? Or?
No, not at all.
Accidentally.
Incidentally.
Can we drop the store name, or should I just say the store?
Sure, go for it.
All right. So before it was called the One Stop Shop, it was my in-town comic store that is now the Geek Boutique. I figured out in 2019 he was working with other local artists to do these variant covers.
Okay.
So I started going down weekly in his ear. I can draw. I went to art school. I haven't done anything with it professionally because I liked eating and paying the bills. But I want to get back into it. So give us a shot. And he would just, kind of yes me to death. And then through the pandemic, he decided to move locations. My part-time job at the time didn't need me because of the pandemic. So I just started volunteering down there. And it was probably 4 months into volunteering, he had 8 covers lined up for Last Ronin #1.
Oh, wow.
And one of the artists decided they didn't want to do it because, again, you have to go back. 2020, Turtles weren't what Turtles are now. They were kind of coming off that last movie that didn't do so well.
Yeah.
And even though they're evergreen, they were not where they are now. And this artist just flaked on it, was like, I don't feel like doing it. So in a panic, he texted me and said, if you can have sketches to me by tomorrow, I'll try to get you approved.
Oh,
so,
nice.
And then I had a whole weekend to do it. So my last
shot.
What's that?
This was your big shot.
This was the shot. So the Last Ronin #1 was the first book that I got to do.
That's cool.
And then right after, Joe Schmalke was working on Phantom Star Killer. And nobody wanted to do the action figure cover for the action figure book because you had to use the card back, which was somebody else, some other artist.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I'll do it. I mean, that was the second one. And then right away in third, we started pitching ideas for crossover.
Oh, okay. The Donny Cates book.
Yeah. And so we came up with this super complicated cover. And then like a week before it's due, Tim's like, so how's that going? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like it was for one of your artists. Oh, I got you guys approved. I didn't tell you. So I penciled it and inked it in 2 days. And then I called up Ken in a panic. I'm like, this is our chance to do an image book, but you have like 3 days to color it. So if you want to, please do. And if not, I get it. It's going to be black and white because.
So now, go ahead,
just say pressure makes diamonds though sometimes, right? Like there's nothing like that pressure where it's like, oh, like the heat is on, I got to get this done. And then next thing you know, you find excellence at the other side of it. You don't even know when you're in it, you're creating excellence. It's just happening,
Yeah. Well, it was like, I wanted to do it forever. I always wanted to be in comics, but it just never happened. And then you're like, well, this is our one shot. When we screw this up, we'll never do this again. But at least we get the shot. So
right.
At least we had a chance to screw up.
Yeah, right.
It was your chance to screw up.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys always work together as like an art team before this, or
no?
This was just
my first book was similar to Scott's story, right? Mine was Last Ronin 3, same thing, same store. Artist flaked or something, didn't want to do it, and I think it was that was the one where he wanted like a painted like portrait kind of thing, and he asked Scott. Scott's like, I ain't painting that, so he called me. And he said, could you do this? And I went, yeah, sure. And I honestly didn't know if I could do it or not. I had never done like a digital oil painting kind of thing before. But to Scott's point, I was like, worst thing I can do is screw it up and they don't print it. So forget about that.
Yeah, no, it's good that you guys did it. Now you're doing these covers pretty much a lot now, which is great. Go ahead, Johnny.
I was just gonna say I wanted to extend the pressure makes diamonds question to HH and to see if you could maybe point or share something from your creative past, or maybe something making Calico where you felt like you were under the gun, but in the other side of it, like it was better for it.
Well, I'll give you two directions. One,
please.
In terms of my inspirations, covers that inspired me, from the past. I'm thinking of the Punisher Back to School special. That was a composition notebook background with Frank Castle.
Yeah,
in the middle.
Let me look for these covers while we're talking.
See if you can pull it up.
Back to School special.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Keep talking about it.
I said, these are the things. You're walking by a comic book shop, and you're walking past these covers. You really want to capture the audience. You want showstoppers. You want people. When we're at a convention, the convention format is where we sell the most comics. Okay, we're an indie, and we're not, a big shot title. Very few people know about us. But those that do, like yourselves, they really enjoy the book. But it's my responsibility, okay, as the main guy at Sigma Comics. There you go. Look at that.
I love that. Yeah, it's great.
Absolutely. He's got his shoddy. Ready right in the middle. You got the composition notebook. Who doesn't remember that in school, right? So it's it's
a unique version of the skull as well, too. It is
that like
a neat version of it. It's just like a. What it looks like? It looks like those 80s holograms, the ones that you'd see on like the outside of toys.
Stankovic, isn't it? Stankovic?
Right.
It could be Bill's work, I think.
Yeah,
it looks very much like it.
Right. It's just very powerful. The lighting coming off. It's just, wow, look at this thing. I got to pick this up. You walk by this in the early 90s and you have to stop. There's a story, funny story. There's a story in there. I think it was by Chuck Dixon. I'm not sure. It could be, maybe it was Chuck Dixon or Mike Bann. I don't know which one, but it's called Mott Haven 10454. Okay, and let me tell you, I don't want to go into it, but it's a straight up old school hardcore Punisher story for those people who love Punisher, and you just don't get anything like that these days. But in terms of cover, that really jumped out at me.
I don't think they're ever gonna do a Punisher Back to School special.
Ever. Oh yeah.
Just the name. Just think about that,
especially now.
Yeah.
Disney's just a hard time doing Punisher anything.
If the 80s was like one image, you could do probably that one. It's like the
right. It's funny. I was talking to someone today about this, about how we as kids, you mentioned childhood. We were really the last generation that got to play with extremely dangerous things.
Absolutely.
Tonka trucks weighing like 15, 20 pounds, pure die-cast metal. You send you right down a hill in a piece of plastic, big wheels going like 40 miles an hour, and you're like 7 years old on a street.
You got a Tonka truck hucked at my face by my stupid cousin when I was like 7.
There you
broke
go.
my nose. You know what I mean? Like those are dangerous toys. But you also have to think that we were also marketed to it as kids with these like ultra violent action heroes. Like that was part of it too. It was all in the name of Americana.
I love it.
I'm thinking of the Dan Aykroyd skit on SNL when he's like a toy maker and he's like, what do you got next? Like, I got a bag of broken glass for kids. It's like
I love that stuff. Like, I don't know. I remember like my parents giving me like we had like our first Rambo knife when we were like 10 or 12, You were walking around with
I got mine in junior high.
Yeah, right?
I don't know where you guys are from.
It was a Christmas gift.
Massachusetts.
In New York City, we have, I mentioned the newsstands, and next to the newsstands, you had guys selling all kinds of weird tchotchkes and whatnot. I think that's a Yiddish word. It just means, a bunch of small crafts and whatnot. But they were selling, a certain guy that you gave him a certain nog that was next to the newsstand, he'd open up a whole section of this little compartment box he was in. And I'm not, no joke, straight up Chinese stars, nunchucks, kendo swords, all kinds of things. And we were like 8, 9 years old, so yeah, it was comic books, Bazooka Joes. For $5, you could walk out of there with 15 pounds of stuff, So
yeah, and then that was also around the time of the ninja craze too. I remember that. We grew up during that time too. That's
Master
funny.
Ninja. Remember that
show? Right. So good.
So bad.
And then HH, you had said there was another cover.
Yes. The other part. So the other part of it is just the approach. I think when someone like Todd McFarland came in, I'd never seen anyone draw the Hulk like that. I really enjoyed the Hulk. And
weapons like this. You find weapons like this in the streets of New York, right?
He knows where that guy is by the newsstand.
That's it. Johnny
got his $5 worth.
Yeah.
Right next door, you have the newsstand.
I've got a prop here in the room that will play to this.
There you go.
Amazing.
It's like Carrot Top over there.
I know, right? Hold on, let me pull up my nunchucks.
Right.
Yeah, so I was just saying that someone like Todd McFarland really influenced me because I'd never seen anyone draw the Hulk like that. And of course, then when he got to by the time he got to Spider-Man, it was just over. I mean, anytime anything that I saw of him on the newsstand, that was it. And I would say that he was my favorite artist as a kid. And then when it came time for me to do the comic book thing, I was impressed upon the creative staff, chiefly Garnabiel, our cover artist, how important it was to take a look at the concept of the essence of what it is that McFarland was doing. Yes, his art was very detailed, but really the essence of McFarland is he's a graphic designer. Okay, this is someone who understands the page, the property, the real estate that he's working with. How can we create the biggest impact on that page? Okay, do we make the details? Do we make the size of the character big? Do we do something interesting, three-dimensional with the title? Are there little, spiders coming down the side of the title with off of the webs, the webbed title? All sorts of different things like this.
Great.
This is what it's my job to make sure that everybody, whether you're a colorist, a cover artist, an interior artist, it's my job to make sure that I have a very military approach to things. I'm definitely the general here, and I need to make sure that I got my archers right. They're ready to do their thing. The cavalry's right. The tanks, everything. And that's how I approach everything when it comes to comics, because it's a battle, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm a former fighter, but it's just the way I think. And I think that when you have that strategy of captivating the audience, making them stop, that's going to go a long way, especially for you indie people in the audience there. You really need to make sure, you might have the best story in the world, but if you can't stop these people walking by your comic book on that shelf, you just lost a customer there. You need to make sure that you stop them. Okay. And you could do it in a lot of different ways. And that's one artist that
would you say in this world that you should judge a book by its cover? With comics, like the reverse.
Yes. Oh, because you know why?
More than any other, right?
Right.
Man, you know what? Man aspires to be more civilized and higher than all, and continuously improve. But the truth is we're animals, and it's a primal thing. When you see something in nature that's bright, that's powerful, that's shiny, like the golem, you really need to create that powerful emotion. When you create that from within someone else, that's the most beautiful thing in arts, and there's a word for that, and it's really the goal of every artist. I don't care what discipline it is, whether it's culinary, performance, visual, you name it. We're all striving for something called the aesthetic experience, and that is the ultimate awakening within a being. It doesn't even have to be a human; it could be anything, any being that just stops them. Like, wow! You've seen animals in nature when they see something that's like, whoa, what's this? You know, and that's the most beautiful thing I think in the art world. It does, like I said, it doesn't matter. You can be a musician, sculptor, you know, you can cook burgers, whatever it is that you do. But that's what we're looking for. All of us are looking for that thing.
It's the thing that makes us fans.
There you go.
It's why I'm wearing a Deadpool shirt. It's why Scott's wearing a Ghost shirt. Ken's wearing a Ludacris shirt. You know, we're fans. You know what I mean? That's really the essence of it.
Absolutely. And you can do it. You can do it right from the beginning. You don't even have to say one word to that person. Visual literacy. That's what that's called. Okay, when you can begin a conversation, you don't even have to open your mouth, and you already have someone ready, captivated. There are times, guys, where we're at these shows, and we don't say anything, just come right up because something strikes them, and then that's when we have the conversation. You know how difficult that is to do as an indie when we're selling across people who have big banners of Spider-Man, you know, Batman. Yeah, these are billion-dollar brands, and now with all the anime and manga. You know, One Piece and all these things. Nobody knows who the Calico is. We don't have one penny into anything.
Talk about this all the time, HH. Yeah, you're speaking you're spouting what I always say is like we are up against when we go to a convention, we're up against everything there. Not a single person in that place is looking for us.
Right.
You know, and to stand out and to make an impression on somebody is huge. Especially someone that might not even be looking for comics, you know?
Right. It's the most difficult thing there is to be an indie, you know, and there's a lot of people that they sell, you know, you see this in Artist Alley. You have very talented artists, but when you look at what they're selling, a lot of it, they're selling things that like Naruto and, you know, One Piece and Academia. I forget the name of that manga.
Yeah, My Hero Academia.
Right, My Hero. They're brands that people already know, but those people, of course, run to their booths. But when they actually have something that they're creating themselves, that's the most difficult thing. So a lot of people do is they use a strategy. The artists, of course, I'm saying, they draw that stuff, and then sort of as a upsell or later on in the conversation, they could say, "Hey, by the way, this is something that I can do." But a lot of times, that's what you have to do. The most difficult thing is what we're doing, where we have original.
Yeah. It's true. It's like I feel like you do get a certain amount of people that are curious about different indie books and they'll stop by. Sometimes it's not their cup of tea, but sometimes if you just have a conversation with somebody, you could sell them on your book, you know?
It's not just the book, it's the person too, though, because there's been plenty of times where I've walked up to a table and I was kind of interested in the work, but then I started to get the hard sell and I was out. You know what I mean? It's almost like I felt bad. I couldn't even explore it a little bit further just because it's like it's the individual. So there's a certain nuance and there's a balance to it for sure.
Well said.
Yeah, maybe to you know, seduce the person walking by your table is to like do a variation, like your own variation, your own take on a Spider-Man or you know, whatever Hulk drawing or something, you know, like your own style. And then when they come and say, "Wait a minute, what is this?" You know, and then you hit them with your stuff, you know, your original work.
You know,
like, you almost have to be a cover band, you know, to get.
Yeah, I mean, fan art.
To that point,
to that.
Right.
Yeah. To that point, though, Harry.
Yeah.
You can't throw a stone and not hit a Kickstarter campaign that doesn't have like an homage cover to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that's like some of the bread and butter of most Kickstarter campaigns out there. Is that people love those like equivalent like homage covers that's like, oh, it looks like, you know, Web of Spider-Man #1, but it's my indie book. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of homage covers, what do you guys think is the #1 most copied homage covers of all time? Like I've never looked it up, but I'm just gonna see what, like, I would say
Amazing Fantasy,
Action Comics #1 or Amazing Fantasy.
I would say ASM 300.
That's a good one too. Yeah,
I feel like the Star Wars movie poster is up there too. The original Star Wars movie poster.
Well, speaking of Star Wars, R.I.P. James Earl Jones. He died today.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw that.
He did. Oh,
actually, I heard he died 3 days ago.
No,
it's just the news didn't get out till today.
Oh yeah. Well, he's like, he lived to be 93 years old, so it's pretty good.
Bless him.
We got a comment here from Scott Parrish saying the topic transfers over as a musician. You have 3 minutes to lock, interact, and Wait, is that lock or my eyes
lock,
are
interact, and lock the
lock
audience.
the audience in before
Yeah.
they either are staying or moving on. Yeah, no,
Yep.
absolutely.
It's all art, music,
Look
cooking,
at this.
like you said.
Tim Ferrante is joining us. Hey, Tim. Good to see you, man. ASM 300 is definitely most homage, I think.
Oh yeah,
Checking this out,
yeah,
Scott.
that's true.
What?
There's a
I didn't hear
million of those.
this. John Cassidy died today too. What?
What?
Really?
That's fucking crazy.
No, are you kidding me? That happened today?
Oh my god.
Wow, Roger's gonna be really disappointed. Roger,
Yeah, I'm a
loved
little
John Cassidy.
wow. I'm a little shaken by that. He's a
Damn.
great artist.
Hold on, I got
Holy
to shoot a
shit.
text out real quick.
Johnny. But yeah, no, I think and then the other one that I think is homaged a lot is the Hulk one where he's holding up the logo. That's homaged quite a bit too.
Yeah.
But there's a
Seen that a
ton. I
bunch.
mean, yeah, no, there's a ton. I mean, almost I've gotten to the point where I kind of don't want to do homages anymore. I was doing them a lot, like on campaigns and variant covers and stuff. And I kind of just want to do my own kind of covers with the artists now,
I just saw one. I like the reflection of the Hulk and Wolverine's blades. That.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
one. I see that on a
that's
lot
sweet.
too.
Yeah.
Scott
yeah,
and
no,
I
there's a
talked
lot.
about the homage thing too, though, Keith, about not doing it anymore. But Scott, I can't remember if it was you or Ben had said that that the problem is if they don't know who we are, but they know what we're homaging, so it draws them
Right.
in. Like as far as a collectible goes, right? They're like, oh, I have
there
no
is
idea who that
people.
Berube guy is, but I love that what he's homaging, so they'll buy it for that.
Yeah, I gotta admit too, even at conventions, like I have a couple homage covers, and I've had people just buy the cover because they collect the different homages of that image. So I've had that happen a couple times.
But usually, like if a cover kind of reflects, like the tones reflect of the two things, that will rope your audience in. Like I know for sure in the case of HH and Calico, like that cover, the look of the character roped me in, reminded me of other characters that I loved. So that's what kind of gave me a common interest and maybe want to pick up and that and obviously your recommendation, Keith, but still
Kind of has
visually. It motivated me to like want to actually open up the book,
What were you gonna say, Harry?
No, it kind of has like a Black Panther look to him. I love that. Reading about the bio or not bio, the description of your book. I think I may need to pick it up because it's like I know many people that friends of mine that love animals so much they make out with them. They like really like
they make out with them.
Like I have a friend, and I'm not going to mention her name, but she lets dogs.
Podcast
Like,
taking a weird turn.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like when she meets like when she
What
meets
kind of
like
show
a,
you got me on here? What is this?
yeah.
it's after hours. But,
Indie Comics Relay after.
We're not even
Yeah.
after 10 o'clock yet.
But I've seen her when she meets a dog for the first time and she doesn't know whose dog this is. Like the dog like licks her face, and I'd be like, oh my! I'd be completely like.
It's like the old woman in Something About Mary who had the little dog.
Oh, exactly.
And then
right.
she just like slobber with the dog. She's like, "Ah."
You don't know where that dog's tongue has been.
Nice.
But
Yeah, right.
I love the concept because animals can't speak and defend themselves, and I hate hearing about. Do you have like a do you know of a story that really enraged you to what made you come up with this story, this book of yours?
Right, so it's personal experience, Harry. I'm a former professional fighter.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what your record was, but you can tell me later.
Right. Basically, what happened was I grew up in the Bronx, and pretty tough neighborhood, and I fought quite often. As I got older, and I actually learned how to fight properly.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple of experiences with some people abusing animals, and let's just say that in both cases that the problem was handled, and the animal abuse was came to a complete halt. It ceased totally, and I had a very excellent, just a wonderful experience in art school. I was fortunate to go to art school. I went to SVA in New York City, School of Visual Arts, and it's just passions of mine. I love animals, always have, always defended them. And when the pandemic hit, it was a chance to finally do something about it, and that's what started it. So I write from experience, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And when you read, I hope you do pick up one of the issues or the whole graphic novel here,
Yep.
because it is something very personal, and you'll
Yep.
see the texture of reality woven in the story, and it smells real, it looks real, and it's because it comes from the heart. It really does.
Mhm.
And a
Yeah.
lot of it is technical. If I would say, if any of you in the audience as well, and of course our guests here, are fans of fighting of any discipline, you'll really enjoy the book because it is very technical. It doesn't gloss over any detail, and I don't know how many of you have been in a fight, but it's a very stressful, powerful, impactful thing that happens to you in life. Some people remember the fights for the rest of their lives. I've had hundreds of them. I'm not joking. In one summer, I quite literally sparred every single day, 7 days a week. I've had hundreds of fights, and we say sparring, but really it's a fight, and against some of the best fighters, in the country, in New York. And I can tell you that the smell of a gym can be the most frightening thing. And when I say a gym, I mean a real boxing gym. When you walk in there and you can smell urine, sweat, blood. Blood has a very sort of metallic taste to it. Okay. And when you taste it a lot regularly,
iron
yep, it comes on you. You leave. I wanted to take somebody into the passion of an emotion of what it is to be consumed with fear, because that's what happens to people, and it's a powerful thing.
I wonder if we blindfolded you, if you could tell the difference between a gym and a prison.
I think I could. I think
probably
right.
I wouldn't doubt him.
There's a lot more. Listen, there's a lot more leather smell in it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right.
So, well, that's also why I, just to do a tangent here, but like when I watch like UFC or boxing, like I admire the fighters for that reason. It's like how technical a guy can be while he's being punched in the face. Like I just like, I can't even because a lot of people, if they get punched in the face, like they're just shocked. Like they just can't think, and I've had very little fights, like maybe a little bit with my fist fighting with my brother when we were younger, but, but even then, like you'd sock me in the face and I'd be like, like about to crumple, So like I always admired fighters for that reason, like to be able to.
Let me tell you something. The most intense conversation I've ever had with anyone about comics had entirely to do with fighting, because the essence of comics is conflict.
Absolutely,
good and evil. And I had a very long conversation with Jim Steranko, obviously a legendary creator. And a lot of people don't know this, but he was also a boxer. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yep. Yeah. And we talked about how the incredible consumption, your body's consumed with fear. Your heart rate starts going up. Okay. Your eyes, the pupils, the dilation that happens. You start sweating, the panic. Is this guy really going to hit me? Am I going to be completely humiliated in front of whoever I'm in front of here? Do you know how humiliating it is for another man to hit you and you go down in front of a bunch of people?
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the most terrifying things for some men and women now. It's the most humiliating thing that could ever happen to them. Okay. So if we're tasked with creating these comics where we can bring that into the emotion, the drive to compel someone, well, we as creators, wow, what an opportunity we have to capture that on a page and get somebody to pick up a book. Like I said, I had never seen anything like when I saw those books, like from McFarland, the Hulk and the Amazing Spider-Man. And they brought me, even as a kid, into that heart rate. Like, whoa, like I'm in the middle of something intense here. This is
they used to throw down like crazy in those books. And like, that's the one thing I hate about modern comics now. There's none of that. Like there's just like people talk, like superheroes talking for 30 pages, and it drives me nuts. That
if you look at those Mark Texeira,
turned into Seinfeld episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
You remember those Mark Texeira Wolverine covers?
Oh, yeah.
They were just like, you think
great.
the whole room was moving. I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah. So good. And
I think there's a place for those like Seinfeldy moments though. Like I remember, and I think it was during like the Civil War run, there was just this one like intro to one of the books where it was like Steve Rogers, Wolverine, Natasha, and somebody else, and they're all just sitting around eating steak. You know what I mean? Like, and they're just conversing. Like, there's a little bit of that is okay in the comics.
Yeah, I get what Keith is saying though. How there's just there's not as dynamic, and the artwork is cleaner, right? Like it's not like Mark Texeira is a great example. There's like a frenetic kind of vibe to the way he draws. You know, Bill Sienkiewicz is like that too, and you don't really see artists like that anymore. Everything's clean and it kind of loses life somewhat, especially if you're trying to represent a fight, which is not clean and smooth and so
Ken, this is a great point you just made, because everyone loves this artist. I'm forgetting his name now. You guys all know him, the gentleman who did Gone.
Alex Ross.
One of my favorites.
This is a master artist. But the big knock on him is when you look at his work, it looks very posed. Everything looks very posed.
It is actually because he uses actually models to pose for. Yeah, right.
Right. But that could be problematic as too, because as storytellers, we want to really make sure that you're capturing that individual from panel to panel. But you're getting that sequence of action, and that can be a difficult thing. Of course, when your art is that gorgeous, it's easy.
He really is.
Good.
It's very stiff.
But to your point, his covers are better than his panels, I think, for that reason.
Yeah,
sure. Absolutely.
He is the Norman Rockwell of comics. Like
that's why Jack Kirby was so impactful, though. Like his like, it was, like when you look at it, it's got so much energy to it. Like the poses were like so over, like the punches were like so overdone, but it was fantastic. I love that stuff. And I agree. Like I like Alex Ross. I think it's a very, his art looks really nice. But when you look at the emotion, it's just very stiff. And I bet he'd be probably the first to admit that too, probably, But yeah, no, I like a more like a Texeira. I like even one of my favorites artists is like Duncan Fegredo, who he does a lot of Hellboy, and his stuff's got a lot of motion to it too. He's really good. So I like his stuff. But like, yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of artists like that today. A lot of great art, but not like that dynamic, kinetic kind of art, which I like.
But even though Alex Ross does stiff paintings like that, when you see an Alex Ross, it's Alex Ross. That's his that's his thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no one's stuff looks like that.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's very nice to look at.
He should change what he's doing.
Right, and he's not.
Well, it's those people who have a very signature style. Like you look at a Drew Struzan movie poster, it's art that Drew Struzan did. You know what I mean?
So talking about like this kinetic style with covers, do you guys like the more action-packed covers? Like I know like covers have kind of gone away from like the way they were in the 80s and 70s, where it would be, like nothing that's on the cover really happens in the issue and things like that. But I used to love that. But like, do you guys prefer like those kind of covers, or would you rather like more like an Alex Ross type where it's like I don't know, like a portrait maybe, or like a pinup kind of thing? I prefer the more action type covers. Like, I don't know. That's my preference. I grew up with that stuff. And it's what like HH was saying, it attracts you to it. Like I was attracted to one of those covers when I was a kid, and the rest is history, So I don't know. I prefer those personally.
Well, I like a mix.
We don't think about it too much. Scott, what do you think?
I'm putting you on the spot, Ken.
If
But
you
go ahead.
look at,
We're all over the place, I think. What'd you say, Scott? Like, see, we were just saying recently that some of our stuff looks very comic booky and some of it looks skews a little more arty.
Yeah, well, I think part of the time we're trying to do the opposite, right?
Okay.
Like at one point we had an Ice Cream Man cover, and the client wanted what everybody else was doing, which was a super gory Ice Cream Man is holding some sort of bloody body part filled sundae or ice cream cone.
Yeah.
And you think about it as you're working on it, and you also have that, you're new to this, and you're like, there's no way we can compete doing the exact same thing that some of these incredibly talented artists are doing. So a lot of times we try to do something different, and that's where we came up with that little golden book.
Yeah.
Where we homaged a 1960s good humor book and made it the Ice Cream Man, and totally zagged. And now ours is out there as a bright pink cartoon creepy Ice Cream Man, when everything else is hyper realistic, bloody, and all of that. And I think that's a lot of times what we try to do. We'll see, and another example being our Turtles cover. Probably 100 Turtles #1 covers just came out.
Yeah.
Probably 90 of them have incredibly drawn turtle jumping at you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ours is quietly looking at the city, done in a Sumi ink style.
Nice.
Just to be different.
Yeah.
So
like
that's a lot what we try to do is what is the majority
What's
of people going to
opposite
do
of what everyone's going to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And we don't care about
the impending danger covers. Like, I love the, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but like a lot of the Spider-Man covers were that way. Like he'd be being choked out by like Electro or something. And then, you know what I mean? And he's about to be dropped off
It's like the
side
climax
of
of a battle.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Like those are my favorite kind of covers. What were you gonna say, Johnny?
I was just gonna say, can I share one of my all-time favorite covers?
Yeah,
Something that
absolutely.
really like hooked me onto the book.
Is it gonna be from Punisher miniseries?
No, actually, it'll probably surprise you.
Is it the boobs in it?
Let me see if I'm sharing it.
Okay, hang on. Got it.
There you go. This cover right here.
Yeah.
Steve McNiven, like very, very simple, right? Very simple cover, simple presentation. But you look at the detail and the battle damage, and that in and of itself, and how provocative it is kind of a hook. And then you get the little tagline of the greatest superhero book of all time is finally here. It's like, come on now, to make a statement like that with this little image here, like that, back that up. So that's a provocative book right there. That kind of ropes me in, that cover roped me in. I just love Steve's art too.
Oh yeah, he's great. HH, what was the Avengers cover you mentioned that hooked you when you were a kid? What was the number?
It was 244. It was an alien. It was like a pink
alien. I want to look it up. Oh yeah, I see it right here. Listen, this is great. Great cover. I like this. Let me see if I can bring it up here. It's a great cover. I like this. This is the kind of cover I love. Let's see. Share screen. Look at that. The Wraith walk among us. I love that.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. But like, I look at how well it's laid out too. Like everything's kind of going to the middle where the alien is.
Mm-hmm.
All the Avengers are kind of pointing that way.
It's almost the same as Johnny's cover that he just showed us, because it's like the most colorful thing, or in his case it was the absence of color, everything behind him.
Right.
The last cover was like
color. The lack of a background makes the figure really stand
exactly
out.
Right. Yeah, that's the focus. You can see this giant bubblegum looking thing.
I'll tell you a couple of things. One, obviously visually, directly to what you guys are saying, the art direction is superb. You got your focal point right in the middle, and what a focal point. I mean, this guy's huge. He's pink, and he's got an incredible, anatomy that for a kid. Imagine being 9, 10 looking at this. Yeah, and you've got all these awesome superheroes just surrounding him. The second thing is this book was a tie-in. I didn't know it at the time, but this was a tie-in. This is right in the middle of Secret Wars. Okay, and every little kid, and this is important for the audience, every little kid in my neighborhood at the time, even kids that didn't read comics, you want to talk about a comic book series that brought everybody in that didn't even read comics, that was just all inclusive and brought, you know, the casuals. Holy crap, Secret Wars. You had I mean, I remember one of these kids came in there. Hey, look at this, Secret Wars. We didn't know what that was. Are you kidding me? All the superheroes in one comic book and they're fighting against this alien thing? And because it was really the first time that a lot of us saw Spider-Man, you know, standing next to, you know, Captain America or next to Iron Man doing all these things all together. And of course, it touched all the different books. It touched Captain America. It touched the Avengers. It touched, you know, Spider-Man, the Hulk, all these things. And it brought the entire neighborhood together because some kids liked Iron Man, some kids like Captain America, some kids. And then little by little, you start seeing them read, instead of, hey, I'm just reading Captain America. Now I'm reading Spider-Man. Now I'm reading, you know, Iron Man. And this is the wonderful thing that comics did. It really visually, but also from this incredible story, got everybody together to read these comics. And I really wish we had, you know, some more of that stuff today.
Yeah, I agree.
Funny, like, Secret Wars is what got me to read the Avengers. I never read the Avengers before Secret Wars.
There you go.
And talking about covers, that issue #1 cover was fantastic. The Mike Zeck cover, just that's
which one?
That's
the
like
Punisher?
No, Secret Wars #1.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Yep.
I was gonna say,
you guys know which one I'm talking about, right? The Punisher original miniseries there. Those covers by Mike Zeck were unbelievable.
Where he's rappelling down the building and shooting into the
No,
the miniseries.
Oh no, the one where he's shooting backwards.
Yes,
like he's falling backwards as he's shooting. Yeah. That's actually they did a really awesome Spider-Man homage cover to that cover.
Yes.
Which was really cool.
You know who also was an awesome cover artist and still is Brian Boland.
Yeah,
he's fantastic.
His stuff. He's really good. He's actually, I'll show you one of my favorite covers of all time was this one that he did. Animal Man #8. I love this cover with him and Mirror Master.
I
love that Animal Man's on like the ceiling, but like Mirror Master's popping up out of every reflective surface here. You know, it's really cool. One of my favorites.
I was gonna say if the image is compelling too, that makes you ask questions. Like I don't know if it was ever a cover, but that picture of like, you know, Spider-Man's costume in the trash can. You know, like holy crap, like that.
Oh yeah, that's an iconic.
And also the cover of the Death of Superman, like his torn cape. That I'm looking at right now is pretty. I mean, like what happened? You know, you want to like find out. It's like very simple. It's not too busy. It's like a cape on a pole here or something. It's like kind of cool.
Iconic too, because that was
interesting. That probably works now.
Sorry, go on.
That works now, but in the time, everybody knew what was going on.
Well, yeah.
I remember being very dismissive of this Death of Superman because it seemed like such a money grab by DC at the time.
Yeah. Well, I remember that too. And it was funny. Like I remember I wasn't even gonna get it. I was like, oh, this is just like, come on.
That was one of the first few times in recent news where comics made the news, national news. Right. And it wasn't shortly after where like they kind of caught on like, oh, if we do these really big provocative events, we might catch national news. And the second time I saw that happening was when they killed off Captain America. You know, so it was like one then the other. It's like just a ploy to kind of catch the news, you know?
Yeah. I remember like because then once the media got a hold of it, it was like, I gotta get one now. Like it became like that thing where it's like, oh, now I need one.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I had to get one too, even though I was against it.
Yeah, me too. Exactly. We all got sucked in. I felt even the storyline after that was better though. Like, you know, like when they were doing like the 4 different Superman.
The reign of the Supermen.
Yeah, I thought that stuff was great.
What were you going to say,
H?
Oh, I was just going to say, you know, we've been talking about, you know, a lot of things, many different aspects of the cover design process. One of these is emotion. And I remember the image of course, I don't think if I was born at the time, but it was so powerful that I certainly bought it as a reprint. When I saw Peter Parker walking away from a trash can, and you see that the costume there, And what a powerful image, because here's probably the most the character in all of Marvel that the kids could really identify with, right? The struggle in school, bullying, and maybe as you get a little older, paying rent, just having problems, struggle in life. And this is the hero that you identify with, walking away from his alter ego. Wow.
Like giving up. Man.
Like, I can't even imagine how powerful that was on the newsstand. I'm sure that was an incredibly well-selling comic.
Speaking of powerful in New York and Superman, like and Alex Ross, since 9/11's coming up, I love that image of the Superman looking up at the firefighters and policemen for that. I don't know if you can look it up, but him and Crypto are looking up at all these the real heroes.
Yeah, really good
stuff.
What I
mean? Yeah, I remember that.
There was a lot of really beautiful artwork that came out around 9/11. They put out a book called Heroes, which was just for the lack of a better description, bipartisan to any specific company, where artists just came together and did these sketches of firefighters and things of that nature. And then even Marvel did that really awesome black Spider-Man cover that had him going to ground zero and helping out. That was such an awesome book.
Did drive me a little nuts though that Dr. Doom was crying. I mean, this guy's done a million worse things than 9/11, but he's crying about 9/11.
Clearly, that was a faulty Doom bot.
What's that? Yeah.
So it was a faulty Doom bot. That wasn't
faulty Doom bot. Yeah. It had emotions that day. But no, I agree with you. All that stuff was great. I don't know. I love a good cover. And like when you guys approach it, HH, how much feedback do you have as a writer on your covers? Are you heavily involved? Do you come up with concepts, or do you let your artists do it?
Whoever picks up the graphic novel, you guys are going to see me afterward. I sketch I used to sketch the whole book and then give it to the artist.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to do storyboard, the whole thing.
Okay, so you did the breakdowns, kind of.
I used to do that, and then I got so busy. I'd say that's the last time I'm doing it. I only did issue 1 for that, but the covers, I do a sketch of what I want to see, and then Garnaby and I sit down and we talk about it, and then we come to an agreement as to how this thing's going to look. And it's so important for you to be on the same page with the artist. Sometimes you just say, hey, I do this, and then you come back, hey, what the heck is this? And you go back and forth. No, I think it's important. If I have the ability to do at least a basic thing and say, hey, this is how this works, let's talk about it. How about color? Where's the lights coming from? What do we really want to do here? Do we want to scare people? Do we want to draw deeper emotion? Is this going to be a hilarious thing, funny? Are we going to go tight on it? Are we going to zoom out? So all of that is discussed. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then Ken and Scott, do you guys, when you guys approach the cover, do you have to draw something that somebody wants, or are you kind of given free reign to create the kind of cover that you want to do?
It's I would say it's 50-50.
50-50.
I would say sometimes. Oh yeah. Okay. Then that's a whole different story. But
nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes we'll pitch an idea that they like. Sometimes we're approached with an idea or ideas, and then we pick which one we think has the most legs and possibilities.
And that you feel comfortable drawing, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, sometimes we'll take stuff I'll take stuff I'm uncomfortable drawing because I like the challenge of seeing if we can do it. But yeah, we had a tight schedule all summer long that was unexpected.
Okay.
So in some instances, we did gravitate towards low-hanging fruit because that's what the client wanted, and yes, I can bang that out the way I want to do it, but I can do it quickly. Whereas sometimes there's a challenge to it because it's not just I do pencils and inks and hand it off to Ken and Ken colors. We collaborate from the sketch all the way on. Sometimes Ken gets rough pencils and the rest of the color is him. Other times I'm literally pen, ink, solid, oh, by the way, I want all this colors, this style, and he gets pigeonholed into that. Like, so it really depends on the property and the what we're trying to do with the cover on how we approach it.
Do you establish a limit up front for edits, or do you find yourself sometimes falling down this rabbit hole of edits for people? And I see
rabbit hole.
I gotta.
If anybody cares, Defenders of the Earth, I think number 2 is coming out soon. Our number 1 should be out for Thanksgiving if everything goes well, because I've redrawn that cover about 4 times. Yeah, it's Ken's finishing up colors. We're hoping that will get through the last hurdle at Mad Cave and King Features, so we can actually have it in hand before the series ends.
That's assuming we recolor it times.
I want to say something that I think is important too when it comes to the sequence, the cover sequence. You know, when you're doing a series, you know, Keith, you asked before about what do you prefer, you know, this action sort of covers or whatnot. But you know, if you look at what we're doing with Here Comes Calico, issue 1, we have the character in this incredible heroic pose that's just looking dead straight at you. It's a pretty intense visual with this character, and it just has one word: run. It's pretty intimidating, but he's very still. He's just looking straight at the reader. And the second one, we have him coming off of a building. You got 2 guys holding 45s, okay? And then, you know, the next one, he's in confronting a guy who's got 2 pit bulls. Then you got one going with a train going right at him in the subway, right, with a guy with his a gun holding at his. Then we've got one where he's just a pose. So my point in saying all this is, you want to surprise the reader. You don't just want to give him something, him or her. You know, they're going to have the expectation there. They're going to know exactly where you're going with it. And this is the problem with storytelling. You need to be storytelling right from the beginning. When I say begin, I don't mean page 1. I mean the cover.
Yep.
You got to be storytelling.
Yep.
All right, because
the cover should tell a story on its own. Yeah,
there you go. You're drawing the reader in, right? The guy's reading the story before he even picks up the book. You see what I'm saying? You want their brains to be moving before they even touch their hands onto your book. Okay, because they, you know, some of these people have already picked up 1 and 2, and I think I know. You know, you don't want to have them expecting anything. You want to catch them off guard. You want these things the cogs to be moving, and all that's gonna do is gonna whet their appetite, get their mind going, get their hands going into their pockets, grabbing those $4 bucks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote down here that your character Calico reminds me of Black Panther, a cross between Black Panther and those terror dogs in Ghostbusters. You know, they have this
a little bit.
that same look.
A little bit. I could see that.
Right.
That he Garnabiel got very creative and adventurous there with that first one. So the character looks a little different, but I welcome it all because it's all good and it's all right.
Right. And to go back to what Johnny was saying too, like when somebody, like, cause I'm an illustrator too, I draw things and if I do logos. So for people, so before, if I'm sitting down with a customer, I ask them a gazillion questions. I'm like, all right, what colors do you want? What should the tagline be? You know, what shape do you want? What, you know, whatever. Like, what's the logo for? What's it going to be used for? I was like, oh my God, you're asking all these questions. I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to redo it. I just want to do it one time, and that's it. You know. And as far as proofs go, like if I'm showing somebody, instead of drawing it 4 times, whatever, I put a limit on it. Like the first maybe 1 or 2 edits is free. Third one, I'll charge you X amount. I forget what I pick, but whatever. Just to deter them from like doing like 5 different edits, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's a lot easier negotiated in like a indie deal than like say like a publisher deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, because you're not just dealing with whoever, like whatever store or event is commissioning from us, but then they have to get it through the publisher. So there's like tiers of it, and like you can wow the person who you commissioned it, and then the publisher's like, yeah, no, all of this needs to be changed. And then we've even had times where the person commissioning was lukewarm, and the publisher was like, "Yeah, that's awesome, run it." And he's like, "Well, I had some tweet. Nope, it's all done." So we've seen kind of both sides happen with the people we've been working with.
And I think creatively, that's the beauty of working in indie comics, is that, you kind of have the license and, to do as you wish, and not have to go through certain checks and balances and whatnot in that regard. But yeah, Keith, I noticed there's some questions in the chat.
Yeah, I saw the BM Nerd. Well, I think we answered this in a roundabout way. He wanted to know if when you guys make a cover, do you follow the story or just do whatever? And he said he's noticed that covers and actual story never match. I had talked about that earlier, how, like, especially in 80s comics, the situation never really matched what was inside. But I liked it. It still got you to look at that cover and got you to open that book,
One of these characters is going to die, but they really didn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Great stuff.
Buy this book, or I'll
yeah, right. Yeah, I'll kill this. I wanted to show actually the Calico campaign here, and then also I'm going to show some of Ken and Scott's covers as well. But first, let's show this campaign. Everyone should check out this book. Both me and Johnny have read it. We both really enjoy this book, and now it's collected into a 240-page trade paperback. And the character, as you can see, is very cool looking, very, very nice design. I think you told me back the last time you were on the show, HH, that Klaus Janson had a hand in designing this outfit as well.
Well, he gave me some guidance. So this one's pretty funny. I actually colored that, the cover.
Oh, this one right here?
Yeah, even though I give credit to Grimaldi, I actually, well, he gave me a few executions, and let's just say I did a little editing on it, and that's what it looks like now. Klaus Janson is someone who I approached because I didn't know he was on the faculty of School of Visual Arts, which is my alma mater. And he's probably the warmest, nicest, kindest, and most generous person in comics.
Nice.
I told him that I was looking for an artist on this, and he made some recommendations, and then he also gave me guidance because I showed him what I had. And the next day we were on the phone, and he spent a half hour talking to me and giving me guidance. And we traded quite a few emails back and forth over the course of a few months. And what I had as a very rough character, turned into that. So even though, myself and my team did the work, Klaus Janson gave an enormous guidance on the campaign. And what you're looking at here is the trade, our very first graphic novel. That's the collector's edition. And
what's different about that one versus the regular edition?
Right. So the collector's edition has the metallic gold on it.
Okay.
It's technically the same book. It's just it goes into the black and whites, just gorgeous black and white work there by Garnaby. It really emphasizes that black and white off of the metallic gold.
The Calico really stands out on that cover. You can tell.
Absolutely, totally pops, and it's just a quintessential Deco image. New York anti-hero, and there's the entire full run right there as a collector version, and then
all great covers here too.
Absolutely.
You can see it just brings me back to the campaign. Yeah. But yeah, you could see some of the covers here that that you did for the 8 issues. Great stuff. I love the logo too. And even look at the pages. The lettering's nice. Everything about it, it reminds me so much of the 80s Punisher street level kind of comics, which attracted me to it initially.
Well, all of our artists, you're looking at the work of both Javier Orbich and Renato Pinto. The top one with the Brooklyn Bridge, that's Javier Orbich.
Okay.
And and then the lower one would be Pinto on the subway there. And the very first thing I told both of them, these are the interior artists. I said, listen, guys, the ultimate companion for the Calico, okay, the backup character is always going to be New York City. you really need to draw the city in a gritty fashion. And that's really important for us because we really want to give the reader that New York experience. You're on newsprint. You've got the deep shadows. You've got an awesome anti-hero on the streets of New York. I want those neighborhoods to pop and give them a voice through your art, guys.
Does Calico ever travel to Africa and like attack poachers and whatnot?
He will. That's coming in the next series. I'm already
really cool.
working on that. Yeah,
cool.
But
oh, nice. You're gonna do another series? Is it another mini, or is it?
We're already working on the second run. So we're gonna keep doing. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing comics and then graphic novels. Graphic novels. We're basically collecting series into graphic novels, and that's what we're going to be doing moving forward.
HH, we spoke a little bit about you bringing on some legendary people for the next volume. Have you announced that yet, or can you tease that?
I can't, but it's definitely coming. I could tease it. It's going to be huge names, and the biggest thing actually is two of these names have worked together on a seminal comic book. Okay, this is going to be the very first time that these two names work on a book since that book, and this book goes back to the 80s. Okay, and that's all I could say, and it's going to be a gigantic piece of news, even though it's our little small indie. So
now, are you doing another 8-issue mini, or is it going to be like a shorter or longer?
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be 6 issues, so just a little bit shorter, just a little shorter, and then we'll collect it into book 2. So this is book 1. If you scroll down and see the little tag there on the book, you'll see that it says book 1 there.
Book 1, yep.
And then
now I wanted to ask you too. You also did a manga, right? Now is that the same comic but is like done in manga, or how was that a completely different thing?
It's not. So what we did was we decided to do I'll tell you first that we did do it and also why. So we did do a manga version. We did a manga version because many of the patrons that we had coming to our booth were under 25 years old. And almost exclusively those of the under 25 bracket were asking for manga. And they thought the character was really cool. And the truth is the character does have some Asian influence. And frankly, one of the bigger influences is a character that was created by a gentleman by the name of Saito, a manga character by the name of Golgo 13.
Oh yeah, I remember Golgo 13.
I'm a big fan of Golgo 13, and he heavily influences Hector Gill, our protagonist in the Calico, i.e. the Calico. And
we could see that.
Decided to do it. We decided to do it because for that reason, and it's also going to give us more traction in the younger audiences there. We had to dress down the violence because we can't be showing that to 15 and 16-year-olds. So a lot of it is sort of not censored, but it's dressed down a bit.
It's toned down, yeah.
Yep.
So it's a different. Is it the same story just redone as a manga kind of?
It is the same story reformatted for manga, but in addition to that, because the manga format gives us about 200 pages or so, we're able to add a little mini story in there with the Calico as a kid from ages.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yep, 8 to about 15. So,
nice.
So we're able to do that for him, and it winds up being a great backstory for this series. So a lot of people, what they do is they get the comic book series, and they also dabble in the manga series to get the backstories.
Yeah, I like that.
So since I haven't read it, who is Hector Gill? I mean, is he like a?
He's the main. He's Calico.
But what is he in the story? Like, is he? What does he do for work? Is he? What's his
secret identity?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Right. What does he do? Like, what's his Clark Kent?
Like character? He's a boxer, right?
Oh, he's a boxer. He's a boxer.
He's Hector Gill is a retired criminal. He's a former burglar. He's like the best burglar. He's the best burglar in New York City, or was, and he's trying to. What he's trying to do is stop. He's completely given it up. But every now and then he gets his hands on things, and he has to make money, so he'll take it to the pawn shop and pawn that. Yeah. And but really, he is an apostle for a covert organization, and what they do is they identify people who abuse animals all across, in this case, the city, but it really is the world, because there are, well, I don't want to give you more of the story, but let's just say the Calico is the head apostle in this area, New York City. And let's just say he does his job extremely well. It's actually too well. And that's rubbing certain people the wrong way.
So New York City is his sector, like the Green Lantern is like this guardian for this sector.
Kind of. Yeah, he operates out of there.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's not a great boxer. He's he's just a slightly above average fighter. It's just the suit really helps him do some amazing things.
So obviously, would you say a lot of you was in him?
I would say so.
Okay.
I would say so.
And what perk are you recommending to people? Like the main one, the book? Get the book.
Absolutely. Just get the book. Get the book.
Okay.
I mean, go do the $30 book and get yourself a wonderful 240-page color newsprint. We kept the newsprint for the graphic novel.
Oh, did you really? That's great.
Absolutely. Yeah. We were able to do it.
Awesome.
And it feels great. It's nice and heavy, and it smells wonderful. And really gets you into that, sort of 80s, early 90s comic vibe. This is before it got a bit gaudy in the 90s, where, you had people with backpacks on their necks and the backs of their heads and things, and pockets.
Yeah. Pockets everywhere.
Yeah, right. So I do love a great designed character, and I think you have it with Calico. So I highly recommend it. I love the series, and I know I lent them all to Johnny, and Johnny loved it as well. So if you guys are looking for like a comic that has action, that is different, like different storylines, like I don't think I've ever seen a superhero that fights for animals, like Animal Man a little bit, but not like this. This is like Punisher.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If there were to be a remake, like a TV remake of Manimal, I would want him to be this guy here, Calico.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah, right.
HH, I was just going to say, for the audience out there, the book is complete. So what's the turnaround time in terms of fulfillment?
Well, look, this is what we do better than anybody else. We have it right here.
He's already got it. Look at that. He's already got it.
Done.
What we always do is we make sure that we set it up so that
awesome.
We set it up, our campaigns, so that we always have the books ready on the very last week, that's what this is. We have these books at the last week of the campaign, so we're never leaving anyone behind, waiting, and that's always been a very big problem for Kickstarters. And we wanted to sort of stray away from that. We believe so confidently in our product that we just go ahead and fork over our money ahead of time, and just to get the books in the hands of the customer, because we know we're going to fulfill these things. That's awesome. I just want to clarify some things. The Calico is definitely not a superhero. He's an anti-hero. And for anybody in the audience, if you have kids, please do not have them read this. Okay. If they're under the age of 17, definitely don't want your kids reading this. The Calico very, very seriously goes after people who abuse animals, and it gets messy very, very fast, as some of you guys already know.
That's why we said the Punisher of animal abusers. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you guys because you guys give us, for those of you in the audience who might not know, who probably maybe just the first time seeing this, everybody here creates comics. Okay, these gentlemen are very kind. They give us a forum so that all of us can, discuss our books and talk about comics. All of us love comics here, but it's a wonderful thing in comics, the fraternity comics, whereby people, open up their channels and just shoot the comic book talk, and it's a wonderful thing because it creates community, and that's really a beautiful thing that we really need right now in comics.
I agree. I mean, there's so much division over silliness. Yeah. I love when like a channel like ours can come together and just geek out about covers for 90 minutes. It's awesome. It's really cool. So yeah, guys, check out Calico. I'm gonna take the link and put it right in the chat right now.
Yes, guys,
this should be on your reading list. It's really good. And if you love good independent anti-heroes, and if you're looking for something like violent, check it out. It's got an emphasis on the fighting and and it's street level. If you like the Warriors and things like that, old school Punisher, Mike Zeck, and the original Punisher mini. This is worth checking out.
This is that book for sure.
Yeah. And Johnny, as a Punisher fan, you concur?
Highly recommend.
Nice. Awesome.
I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We count on people like yourselves, and frankly, we're creating comics for people like yourselves. So
you're almost there too. You're less than what, $140 something from the goal. So come on, guys. He's got 5 days to go. Let's get Calico over the finish line.
Let's do it, guys. Come on. Let's be champs.
This is a book that's worthy. So check that out. Awesome.
Hey, HH,
yeah, you're welcome, HH.
As somebody, HH, having that funding it ahead of time and sending it out quick, that's fantastic, because I've supported a bunch of Kickstarters before, and it sucks when you got to wait like 3 months. So just as someone who supports them, that's fantastic. That's just, I didn't even know you could do that. But I guess I get it now that you've explained it. But thank you for doing that. Yeah, because that you miss out on that instant gratification that we're all used to now when you usually support a Kickstarter. So I'm glad that you addressed that.
Yeah, we're fortunate enough that because we do a lot, and I mean a lot of conventions. The conventions really where we bring in the most revenue for the company. And what we do is we make sure that when we're going to do a Kickstarter, we want to make sure that never happens. We've heard horror stories from a lot of customers, and once we started hearing more than 4, 5, 6, that was it. We wanted to never be in that category of publisher that has.
You want to be the reliable publisher, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Do you still one thing I wanted to ask you too, HH? Do you guys still give a portion of it to animal charities and things like that?
I'm happy you asked that question. Every penny goes to fighting animal abuse. We don't make any money on the series.
Yep. So feel good about backing this, because it also goes to a charitable cause.
Absolutely. If you want all the details about what we do with the money, you go to our website is sigmacomics.com, and there's a page called Save Animals, and that'll give you all of what we do and how we approach fighting animal abuse through comics. We're very unique that way.
Yeah, love it.
I'm personally very fortunate that I don't need to draw a salary for this, and all of us that work for Sigma Comics, we're all animal lovers. We all work in animal rescue, animal care, animal rights. Cool. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're all about. Yeah.
Yep. That's awesome, HH. I love it. So yeah, back it, guys. Check out Calico. And now I wanted to show some covers, some exclusive covers that Scott and Ken did under Angry Dad Comix. So let me bring those up here. We'll go to our friend Geek Boutique's website here and check that out. So hang on 1 second here. So Geek Boutique, great store that Ken and Scott have worked for. And so let's take a look at some of these covers. I don't know if this is all of them. I just kind of put your name in, Ken, and I know you guys have done more than this, but I knew a bunch of them were for the Geek Boutique. So I wanted to show off some of them on the website. Like, if you guys want to take over and just talk about a bunch of these, go for it.
I like that twig one with the old kid book looking book there. The old hardcover. The golden books, right.
Yeah, the golden books.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah, I think Scott explained how we tripped into our first one there by trying to do the opposite of your standard, horror, slasher kind of vibe that everybody was doing. So we went with the kids book, and we got such a reaction out of it that we just kind of kept, when occasionally we would get another, like in this case, Twig just seemed like the perfect character for that.
No, because I noticed it instantly. So anybody of our age, wouldn't know what that is, or even today, they still have them at stores,
Yeah, and this is the Ice Cream Man cover that Scott was talking about earlier.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it came out really good. That's a good series too, a good horror kind of comic.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great series.
You guys have done so many.
Repeated
This
it
is
again
for
the Department of Truth.
Department of Truth, yeah. Infernal Pact. I don't remember what that was. Was that a what
that
series?
Is a Joe Schmalke series.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Dog Days, of course, the Stray Dogs comic. What's that?
And that one we forced through. That's like one of our favorite little stories. Is Image never got back to us.
Oh, and so you guys got that one through?
We pressured Tim into sending it in anyway, and they were on a Trish and Tony were on a Facebook Live with Bill Morrison, and he was talking about trying to do his house poster homage as a Dog Days, and it got rejected. And they were like, well, somebody actually did it and got it approved. They're like, we didn't approve it as a sketch, but they sent it in done. We liked it, so we're running it.
Nice.
So that's how we found out that it got approved. Was
that's great. Like, so sometimes it just pays off to just do it, right? Like,
yeah,
just throw it in.
I'm a permission guy, so that was like out of my comfort zone. But we loved his work on posters so much. Like, I think both Ken and I had the house poster as kids.
Yeah, I actually had that in my room when I was a kid.
There was no way we weren't doing that.
So. Is that a Battle Royale spoof?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Cool.
Yep.
That's a great one. That's a good book too. I like that. It's like Harry Potter, but if it was like you had to fight for your life in the school, basically.
Yeah, Battle Royale, basically. Yeah.
Basically.
Manga,
yeah. Great stuff. And I love the X-Files one you guys did for Department of Truth.
Really, well, I mean, the fact that it hadn't been done yet, when we had the opportunity to do the cover, I'm like, it has to be an X-Files cover. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that nobody made that connection with all of the covers that they've done for that series. So
yeah, it's great stuff. Good stuff, man. So I know you guys have done many more, including most recently. I don't know if you guys have them on your laptops, you could share. You guys did Gotcha Man cover. You did cover for Gotcha Man.
Well, I have Gotcha Man here.
Oh, do you?
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Look at that.
Let's take a look. Hang on. Let me make you big. Oh yeah, look at that. Yep. That's great. Beautiful. I love Gotcha Man.
That's great.
Yep.
And you guys said you're doing Defenders of the Earth, and
we are. Yep.
And I mean, we can probably announce this here.
It's like only half done.
Wow, look at that.
Hang on.
Exclusive. You got it first.
Show it.
I haven't even seen this yet though, so
cool. Oh, nice. That's the Defenders of the Earth one. Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I guess we could announce it here too. You guys are going to be doing a variant cover for Mighty Mascots number 10 as well.
Yeah, we are looking forward to that. Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah. So I can't wait. Like I started, I got my second variant cover artist picked out, and he's already sending me designs and stuff. So it's an old
no pressure. He's already sending designs.
I did not mean that as a pressure.
No, I got it. It was a lot of clear.
Subtle hint.
That's awesome.
My variant cover artist has already sent me the vibes.
But I'm looking forward to seeing what you fellas come up with for a cover. I know Scott kind of told me a little bit of an idea of what you were doing, but I can't wait to see the final thing put together.
Well,
so.
after tonight, it's going to be action and dynamic.
After this discussion,
yes, exactly.
Yes, that's great. Awesome. All right, fellas. Well, if we're gonna probably go on and do some of our other segments, like our Kickstarter recommends and our shameless self-promotion. So if you guys want to take off, this is a good point to jump off on the show.
I do have to jump off, but I want to tell you before I leave that you guys are doing a very important service for comics, and I really enjoy coming here and talking comics with you guys. You learn something every day. You learn about new projects, and it's a fun thing we do. We're very fortunate to be in comics, and I want to thank all of you.
It's a hard thing to do, and it's always nice I geek out about it, and I love the whole creative process. So I love having guests like you guys on just to talk about it. It's like it means a lot to me as well, is what I should say, and I love that you guys come on and we share all our love, basically,
Absolutely.
Right. And thank you for being on. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Johnny.
No, I was just say, yeah, I wanted to just thank you guys all for taking the time out of your days to come on the show and, share your talents with us, share your works. And HH, I'm sure I'll see you in New York.
Yes, absolutely. Come to Small Press in New York City. It's going to be booth, I believe it's booth 2137 in Small Press. It's going to be the first row. Once you come in from the main floor into Small Press, we'll be in the very first row towards the front. I think it's 2137, Small Press, New York City. And absolutely, Johnny C., we're going to have a little present for you when you stop by.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm once again, I'll be back at booth 2040, like the Phantom 2040.
Got a nice comment about you here too, HH, from Aaron Wood. He said he was diagonal to you at Fan Expo Boston, and he said, I swear the guy never rested the entire show. Wicked hard every second. That's awesome. Love it.
we like going hard, and to you, Aaron, thank you so much for being in comics and doing what you do and appreciating the industry overall. We can't do it without people like yourselves, and thank you for supporting this great show.
Yeah, awesome. All right, HH, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Scott, Ken, if you guys want to stay, you can.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
All right.
Good night.
See you, HH. What were you going to say, Ken?
I'm going to hang out.
Okay.
If Scott's going to get mad because I'm not working on his Defenders of Earth cover, but
that's okay.
I'm kidding.
I'm going to jump off because our little booth up here is actually in the bedroom.
Okay.
And my wife travels tomorrow for work. So if I stay up any longer, I'm not going to be super popular.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you guys so much for having us.
He could be witnessing some domestic violence.
Yeah. And it'll be recorded, so that'll be good for me. But
that's great. All right, Scott. I'll see you later. I'll talk to you, I'm sure, soon.
Time, Scott.
You bet.
All
right. Take care.
See you, guy. All right. So let's move on. Did you guys grab picks this week for crowdfunding?
I grabbed one right before the show started because the one that I had picked before is already funded now. So need our help.
Well, it's all right, even if it's not. I mean, if you can still recommend it. Johnny, you got one as well?
Well, I was gonna rerun again, but I might actually have one. So if Harry wants to go first, I might be able to drum up a fresh one real quick.
All
right, let's do this first. All right. So Harry, you want to share your screen, or do you want me to go?
It's always a hard. Go ahead, Keith. This is always a struggle for me.
All right. I'll start with this. Yeah, figured out why I'm showing mine. This caught my attention. This was a new Larry Hama project on Kickstarter. It was Mounties versus Werewolves.
Oh,
I was like,
whoa,
okay. I Larry Hama, former guest at Plastic City Comic-Con, also one of the premier writer for G.I. Joe, has a new project. So I was like, all right, let me check it out. So we looked through it. It looks really cool. I guess it might be his own imprint or something. Good Alien. I've never heard of this. So, but hey, if he's writing it, I'm kind of interested in it. So it looks really cool. The artwork looks awesome. And there's Larry in action right there. Got some nice covers, and it just looks like a cool idea. Mounties versus
I love that.
Werewolf.
I love that image of the Mountie.
Yeah, isn't that
That's
great?
great right there. Yeah.
And I think they have a bunch of covers. Like, let me see if they show them down here. Okay, so it's a $25 book, but it's double size, 48 pages. Usually when those books are 25, they're usually about that much. Yeah, it's got a couple different covers. Cover B, cover C. Wow, all the covers are great. D. How many covers did they do? E. That's interesting. Oh, they even have like what is this? Is like a bus. That's awesome. Wow, they've gone all out for this thing. Werewolf. I don't know, it looks good. I like a good horror story. I like a good mashup, and this looks like it could be a really fun one. So, this is my recommendation this week: Mounties versus Werewolves for Kickstarter.
I love that. Well-rounded campaign too. It looks like they have all sorts of like awesome, like fun stuff. You know, you can get just the book, or you can go like next level and get that like cool looking bus thing they had there.
Oh yeah, 4 days to go, and they've already hit their goals. So I'm sure they could use more funding, though. You know how it is. You want to overperform on these things to try to make it worthwhile.
It's kind of bunk that's the standard now, that we have to overperform to kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy, but it's all part of us staying ahead of the game.
There you go. Tim had a great suggestion. He said Larry Hama should link up with Scott Rosenberg and do Mounties versus Werewolves versus Cowboys versus Aliens. That'd be pretty fun. That was a great book back in the day. All right, so that was mine. Harry, did you have yours ready to go?
Yeah, let's see if I can. Am I presenting here?
I got it here. So,
all right. Well, here's my backup, or the one that I found. I just like the art on this.
Okay, so it's Athena's Paradox. Yeah, the art is pretty nice on that.
Yeah, it's basically like she's living in a world where there's alternate realities, and they're all kind of crashing together. And she's the only one that's aware of this happening. And so she's got to like stop it or something before everything goes chaotic, you know. And all.
Well, this one literally just launched, huh?
Right. Yeah. So I just this was right before we started the show. I found this one, so I'll do a quick read up on this. But it looks pretty cool. I mean, I like some of the. Hold on, let me see the other photos here of this thing here. That's the video. But it looks. I mean, the artwork looks pretty cool.
Well, scroll down. Does it have any of the covers or any of the interior pages?
Let's see here. Here's some. Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. No, it looks really good.
Clean art, obviously digital, right? You would think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wish I could. I mean, I don't know how long the video is, but that's fine.
Yeah. No, I'm always a little eerie about playing Kickstarter videos that I haven't watched, because sometimes they end up being like 10 minutes.
You never know what you're gonna fall into.
Like when we have guests on, I try to preview the video just so that I know if it's one of those long ones that we can avoid it. But if it's like a minute or less, I don't.
Yeah, let's not. Since I just found it, let's not.
Yeah, no, it looks kind of cool. Like it looks good. He's only got a $41 goal.
And 41 days to go. Yep. So that's plenty of time to.
Female protagonist. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
And I like her name. You know, like my I
like the idea. The idea sounds compelling. So
everything's multiverse anyway nowadays. So.
Yeah. Right.
In a world where what does it say? In a world where the line between reality and alternate universe is maintained by an unseen barriers. So.
Okay. That sounds good. Yep. All right. How about you, Johnny? You got one that you're ready to show?
I don't have anything new, so I'm gonna rerun again my Good Buddies campaign.
Okay.
So that way we can try to get a little bit more, because again, like we just said, it's like it's not just about making your goal, but it's about overperforming nowadays, right? Yeah. So he's really I don't want to say struggling, because he's not struggling. It's hit its goal, but as far as pushing further and with the time that it has left, I want to kind of like help give him a little bit of a boost.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen right here for anybody who's watching this evening that may have not watched in prior episodes. The campaign is Kismet. It's an arcane cocktail enthusiast story. So it's from my good friend Jeff Ryder. And the thing I admire about this campaign specifically, and I've talked about it, and I've said I've wanted to do a spinoff for Surrounded by Death for quite some time. So Kismet is a spinoff of Jeff's arcane cocktail enthusiast comic story. So it's really cool when you can really invest so much time in your indie book that you're already at the point where you can kind of do spin-off stories and other things like that. So I find that very cool. So this is a kind of a sideways entry into Arcane Cocktail Enthusiasts. So you don't necessarily have to read the other stuff to understand this. You can enter through this book.
Okay.
Yeah, and so really the way that Jeff describes this book is it's The Sopranos meets The Bear. So two very awesome and provocative TV shows that people love. So that's definitely a real great like hook in terms of catching people's attention. And basically it's about a magical restaurant that they're waging kind of this war between magicians and goblins and creatures. So it's a little bit of, like the plot of Hellboy 2, where there was like that kind of fairy tale underworld.
It was like an underworld with like magical beings and things like that. Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of the same flavor here. And you can see some of the artwork. It's real neat, awesome stuff. Very provocative and dynamic pages.
And maybe a hint of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too, right? You would think.
With a slight chance of that, perhaps. But he's got this awesome maitre d' character, and just herd chef, and he's just ripping his shirt off, like pretty awesome.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So and that's the main story. That's the main book right there. So if you wanted to pick up Arcane Cocktail Enthusiasts, it's available through the campaign. Take a quick gander at that. I like to say that I'm the godfather of this book.
Okay.
And the only reason why I say that is because I introduced Jeff to David Pupo, who illustrated the book at New York. San Diego Comic-Con.
So you brought the creative team together.
I literally walked him over to Jeff and go, you have to meet, because Jeff was talking about needing somebody for this story. And sure enough, I was flipping through David's book, and it was just like, this is perfect. That's alternate covers that are available for the campaign. This is the
anti-AI cover.
Anti-AI cover, which
I
is I love that. So yeah, if you're against AI artwork, this is the cover that is meant for you.
That's a funny idea, actually. It's great.
Yep, and then they have a cool sticker pack to go along with it. Notebooks for the Arcane bar. So like if you're like a bartender, or if you like to dabble with recipes or just need to take notes, you got one of those cool little books. And it's a well-rounded campaign, so you can get a little bit of everything here. Highly recommend it. Bar coaster for your bar at home. So if you want to, throw a coaster on your coffee table, it's available here.
That's awesome.
So highly recommend my good buddy Jeff Ryder and his Kismet, the campaign. It's got 10 days left. They're just over goal, but let's see if we can give them a little bit more.
What was the goal in that book?
Goal is I believe it was 3,500.
Okay.
And they're currently at 37. So they're $200 over. So what's that difference? I mean, that could be like
5,000, right?
Right, exactly. And we've said this before in other streams, and it seems like a tougher year financially. People seem to be a little bit more constringent. So even campaigns are seeming to have a little bit more of a struggle with getting completed. Like, that's why, Keith, and I don't know if I'm talking out of pocket here, but I was like maybe wait for Mighty Mascots. You're going to launch in October, right?
Yeah, I'm doing like a smaller goal though this time around. I want to hit it, and then since I'm doing Indiegogo in demand, I'm going to leave it open.
You can keep it open, and that's good too, because it's a rolling number at that point.
I did do a quick little poll on Twitter to see if anybody was like suggesting like different crowdfunding platforms, and only about maybe 10 to 15 people did the poll. But the two that came neck and neck was Indiegogo, followed by Fund My Comic was a tie for it.
Kickstarter wasn't even considered?
I think it had a couple, but it wasn't. Yeah, I was shocked that those two were the winner.
Ken, do you have a preferred platform for indie comics or any place you'd go to back for books?
Who, Ken?
Yeah. Was he muted, or I don't know.
You might be muted, Ken.
You might be muted.
Let me see if he's
Oh,
muted.
maybe not.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, here we go. Oh wait, unmute. You might have muted yourself. Oh, there you go. I think we can hear you now, Ken. Hello?
We lost him.
Can you hear us? Ken. Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there
got you now. There you go.
Got you now.
Welcome back.
You know what?
Welcome back.
I think my earbuds just died. I think that's what happened. I just switched over to the computer mic. So I was saying that I have also heard Indiegogo seems to be gaining traction on being the more useful crowdfunding site. I've funded one myself. Different comic projects on Kickstarter, and it's been a pretty good experience for the most part, with the exception of what I mentioned earlier to HH about having to wait so long. But it's definitely something I want to look at in the future as I'm looking to put my own stuff out at some point. But what was the one that Fund My Comics? Was that the other one you had in
that's
your
another one
poll?
that was coming up as like, hey, you should do this. People were picking that one as an option, and it was tied with Indiegogo.
Huh.
I chose Indiegogo because I did the last 2 campaigns there. It just made more sense to just stay there. And they're doing something different. Like they have a new CEO or something, and they're really doing a nice push to, I don't know, try to help you more with your campaign, get it into more people's eyes or something like that. But I'm curious to see how this time around it'll be with them,
Have you ever
The
done
one
one
thing
with Kickstarter?
Indiegogo. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ken. What were you going to say?
I was just wondering, have you ever used Kickstarter for any of your books?
I have. I used it. My very first comic was on Kickstarter, and then when I was funding the original, the artwork for the original first issue of Mighty Mascots, I did a Kickstarter just to get the money to pay the artist, because I happened to get laid off as I was trying to make that comic. Yeah, it was awful. So I was like, brutal. Oh, Kickstarter, and I went there, and I was able to make the money there. But and then I moved over to Indiegogo, and I've been liking certain things on Indiegogo better than Kickstarter, so that's why I kind of stayed there. But what were you going to say, Johnny, about the Indiegogo?
I was just going to say, I mean, functionally, I really like Indiegogo in the sense that you collect funds right away, so there's no worried about dropped campaign pledges or things of that nature. But honestly, I have more unfulfilled pledges from Indiegogo than I do on Kickstarter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There's more people who I've given money to, or I haven't gotten the product, than on the other platform. And that's kind of one of the challenges. If there's anything I think that Indiegogo can benefit from the consumer side of things, is putting more of a guarantee in place.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things they're doing, right? Or certain campaigns, like if you have a big campaign, there's going to be some kind of like safety net for backers, like if you don't deliver the product or something,
Oh, right.
So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, I decided to go there, and I'm about halfway done building it right now. So I'm getting there. Amy's starting to put a video together for me, and nice. We're getting signups and everything, Actually, I could show the pre-launch page. Actually, if we're going to move into the next segment, I'll let me do our
let's do the video. Roll that footage.
Amy made all these bumps for us, Ken. Pretty awesome, huh?
Pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, try to make it more like like a talk show kind of vibe, something like that.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly what it has.
Yeah,
well done.
Like for comics, But yeah, I wanted to show off the pre-launch page real quick here, if I can bring it up. Hang on. Preview. Here we go. And and let me share. I'm not going to play the video because we had it at the beginning of the show. But here's the pre-launch. It's got some of the artwork from Mighty Mascots number 10, which is going to be a triple size anniversary issue. We figured it's probably going to end up, the main story might end up about 30, 35 pages or so. And then the backup, I have 2 backup stories. One of them is almost done, and it's done like in the Hanna-Barbera style. That one's going to be about 10 pages. And then the other one, I'm waiting to hear what that one's going to be and how many pages. So if that one ends up being about another 10 pages, the books could end up being about 50, 60 pages, which is pretty awesome. And what I'm going to do for stretch goals this time around, let me know what you guys think of this. So I back a ton of campaigns, just like you, Johnny, just like you, Ken, and I think you back some too, Harry.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. The thing is, I got so many bookmarks, stickers, pins to like choke a horse. Like I thought this time around for stretch goals, I'm just gonna do stuff like make the book better. Like, like if we hit a certain amount, I'm gonna maybe do foil covers for all the covers. Make them all foil, and then maybe do something like if we hit another 500. We get another pinup by artist to be announced, couple more story pages, stuff like that. I just want to make the comic better. What do you guys think of that? That's what I've been sort of, because that's what I prefer as a backer more than like the tchotchke stuff. I'd rather have a great comic, I don't know.
I like that idea. Sorry, Ken, go on.
No, you go ahead. I was just saying I like it.
Yeah, I like the idea. Here's my only concern when like you say like, okay, hey, if we perform well, we will expand. Now that kind of puts new work that you're obligated to do, which, you would do it anyway for the book, but it could leave people waiting. Right. And that's the game that, you want to play. Like you want to make sure they're not waiting too long, but when you have work ahead of you that's promised, and then you never know the unforeseens in between, that's where it can be challenging. You know what I mean? So you don't want, I like it. You got to be thoughtful of those aspects of it. You know what I mean?
Like, I know what you're saying. Like, you don't want to be on the fulfillment date and still like adding, another pinup or, you know what I mean? And not having them all done. Yeah. I'm going to be very, I'm probably going to do the stretch goals until the point that the book is almost ready to print. And then I'll be like, all right, time to shut it down. No more stretch goals. Just it's done now. And that's when I'll stop. And then I'll make sure I have everything for the book. But at the same time, I'll probably be
separate item. Like, because just to your point, I think I have like 72 bookmarks, right? Like I don't need any more bookmarks.
Right.
So I totally feel you on that. I used to love them at first, although I am a sticker guy, so I don't mind stickers.
Yeah.
But, you know what I just thought of? So I finish. Sorry, interrupt.
Oh, I was going to say, so one thing I was thinking about down the road when I finally put my stuff out is a sketchbook. So it would be a separate
That's not a
book.
bad idea. Yep.
So like when the book is done, the book is done. And then, and maybe that add-on is the thing you could add more pages to. And then I think sort of to Johnny's point, right? A lot of the sketches are already going to be done because I would have done them at the beginning. So it's really just collating work that people wouldn't normally see. Maybe coming up with a new cover for it or something.
Well, I think what I'll do, like if I do like a pinup as a stretch goal, is beforehand, like before that stretch goal even comes up, I'll probably pick out an artist, talk to them ahead of time, saying, "Hey, if this hits, will you do a pinup?" And try to get it all in place so that if it does hit, I can be like, "Go for it," and just have them do it.
How about this? Find a company that makes Stretch Armstrongs, and then for the stretch goal, you can get just stretch character one of your characters. I can stretch them. That stretches.
Yes.
No. I don't think they make like a generic stretch.
Armstrong.
The other thing I'll have on this campaign is I'll have the trade paperback of volume 1 and 2. Volume 2 will be available for the first time here, along with the figures, the 3D printed figures, which are almost done. I almost have those complete, which is awesome. I just got to put some pictures together with the, everything in place, and just so I can show everybody. The other cool thing about these, there'll be 4 sets of 2. And if you buy all 4, you get a glow in the dark Mondo figure free with, nice. And I might make that like the premiere, and you also get issue 10, the new issue with it. So I'll make that as like the premiere perk or whatever, the secret.
This is so fucking cool. It's so cool. I just want the whole set right now, right away. I want a set to keep in package and a set to open that I can play with. Like, I want all of that shit. That's dope. That's
absolutely
dope.
So other cool things is this is the backup story guy, DC Miller, talented artist. I love his Hanna-Barbera style of
that is
my
very
characters.
Cool.
Isn't that awesome? And then
this, are you written into the story, Keith, or did you just sketch you to sketch you?
He just sketched me, which
okay, all right,
which is kind of funny. Like,
that's awesome.
I mean, I look like wasn't that guy from the Spumco guy from like Ren and Stimpy or something? That's what I look like there, don't I? But the other cool thing is my buddy John Mills that I went to Kubert School with surprised me at Plastic Comic-Con with this image of the Mighty Mascots as like a shadow box. And I was like, dude, you got to give that to me because I'm going to make a print of that. So if that's the one perk, if you sign up early for the campaign, you'll get this beautiful John Mills 6x9 Mighty Mascot print. And that's if you sign up and buy something physically for the campaign. So
I'm going to request and encourage the audience that one of the stretch goals should be a hardcover version of Mighty Mascots, because I would love a collected hardcover version of all 10 issues. I think that would be appropriate. And I think if you introduced even if you just introduced a tier like that, I would have a feeling that would probably be your best-selling tier. I'm just saying it.
I do want to do that. I want to have a nice hardcover at some point, of everything on the
10 issues. Sounds like a good point to do that, Keith.
It does, and actually it would make sense for where it ends too. It would be a good omnibus point, Yeah, I gotta think about that. I hadn't thought about that, but if we put that as a stretch goal, that might be.
I'm trying to incept the audience to reverberate it back to you.
Amy wrote here. Well, first Aaron wrote, "Quit the junk, make the book better." Okay, here you. Buddy.
I like some junk. Like, okay, so
I do too. I like the unique junk.
Yeah, well, things that are. I'm always a big fan of practical items.
Yeah.
If you can include an item in your campaign as something I'm going to use in my everyday, awesome. You know what I mean? Like eventually I'll need a new mouse pad. So give me a mouse pad. I'll go for that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
True, yeah.
That's
Amy says foil cover, embossed cover, book plate, gilded edges, upgraded binding. There's lots of way to make the physical product more awesome. I agree. I mean, that's what I was thinking. So that's my thoughts with this campaign, but all of my campaigns going forward. I want to just make a better book, like a premium book, I guess. Like when they talk about prestige format, that's what I'm thinking about with my comics going forward.
Nice,
So yeah. So how about Harry?
I was going to say, Ken, were you going to say something? I didn't want you to get cut off there.
I was going to say. I want to see. I want stickers of all those Hanna-Barbera versions of your characters, including you.
Yeah.
Do you really? We can just I do want around places.
I want a Keith sticker for sure.
Let me see if I can dig up a page too while we're talking about DC Miller's awesome artwork. Dude is like honestly like I wrote him a story, but he laid out everything, and like I didn't give him any thumbnails. I go break it down, and he got way into it. And like, I gotta admit, I love his artwork.
That's real cool.
It's so good. I'm thinking about let's have a DC Miller backup story every issue, you know, like it's that good. So
that's cool.
But look at this page. Yeah, let me show you this page. This one is great. So in this storyline, they're fighting like a demented version of the Pillsbury Doughboy. It's the story's called Day of the Dough Lord. So this is but look at this page. Like, I love this last panel of Boxer Bear throwing all the gingerbread men off of him.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? I mean, I love the way he did the robots too. And look at this. Honey Flakes
really
looks so
has that
freaking awesome.
vibe. It's so good.
Doesn't
it?
Like, it is. I love it. And like, he really did a great job. Like, I'm really impressed with his artwork. And this is a guy that just reached out to me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I want to do something. I like your comic." And I was just like, yeah. When I saw his work, I was like, I don't know what we're going to do, but I'll find something for you, man. I love it. So, so definitely, I can't wait for you guys to see this whole book put together. And plus it's a monumental issue too, where it's like, like when you hit those issues of Avengers where there was like that, there was always that one issue where team members fought each other. This is like going to happen with Mighty Mascots number 10. So it's going to be great. Amy says I should do a Mighty Mascots spatula.
I like that. No, that's not even. I like that. Like a just a silicone spatula. You know, something that's durable
or a cereal bowl.
Branded.
Yeah, like the old
something to think about.
Sets with the spoon that comes with it.
Cereal bowl.
Something to think about. Yeah, it's something to think about. All right, let me think on that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe if I do that, let me look at prices first to see if that's
you've already done the cereal box thing, right? So maybe a cereal bowl.
I've done the cereal box,
yeah, cereal bowl thing.
Next time we need the actual cereal. You need like little like marshmallow
partner with the company.
Yeah,
well, if we get the books bigger, some of these companies might come looking for me. You know, so that'd be great. But yeah, no, I'm excited for this issue. I can't wait to get it out to everybody.
It's pretty cool.
So how about Johnny, Harry? Anything you guys are promoting this week, or
Harry?
Well, I mean, I can talk about. I might have two potential things I can talk about. Maybe the thing that happened last weekend. I don't know if that's it's already passed. I can show so anyway, last weekend I went to the UFO festival.
Yeah, that's right. You were telling us
Exeter, New Hampshire.
Yeah,
and I had no idea. I just saw the ad on Facebook. Oh, look, it's a festival, and like one of our friends from Deluxe, the olden days, Bonnie Gibson. She so she sent me like a link to the festival like months, or weeks ago. I don't know. And I'm like, oh, cool, because she knows them. It's like weird things like that, like paranormal, whatnot. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, kind of fun. And I'm like, whatever. And then I saw it again recently before the festival, and it popped up again on like somewhere, Facebook or some social media, and I sent her the link to that. I'm like, oh, check this out. It's like, yeah, Harry, I know I sent you that like weeks ago. I'm like, oh, right. So it's like, are you going to go? I'm like, and I wasn't going to go, but since she was going, she went on, it was like a weekend thing, Labor Day weekend. And she went on a Sunday. I'm like, well, if you go, I'll go. So she's like, and of course she's like, yeah, I'll go. I'm like, all right, I'll just check it out. But I had no idea it was based on a true story that happened. And I think Johnny was telling me too, that he's like, he was,
the Hills, right?
No. So the Hills was, it happened in 1961 and also in New Hampshire, also in September. This happened 4 years later in 1965. It's a different story where a guy was coming. He just got out of the military. He was visiting his girlfriend in Amesbury, New Hampshire, and he was walking home to Exeter, like hitchhiking or walking home, one of those. And he noticed some like weird red lights in the sky that were over some barn, and he thought, initially it was like a plane or something, a classic, story you hear all the time. And these red lights, hovered there for a while. Then they came towards him, and he freaked out and he jumped into like a on the side of the road or something to just he was scared, And these lights eventually moved away again. So the guy was like super scared. He ran to the police station in Exeter, told him the story. He's like, yeah, whatever. And he thought he was drunk or something. And then while he was there, the police got other phone calls from like other witnesses that were seeing things right there and then. Like, all right, and he told the kid, I forget his name's what's his name? Norman something. Let's see, it's an Italian name here. But anyway, Norman, do I have it here? Mascarello.
Okay.
So he's like, all right, it's Norman, let's go check it out. So they go to that same area where he saw the lights at this barn. And it's like, it's like, yeah, it was right around here where I saw the lights, right around this barn. And right as he was explaining where they were, the lights came back. It's like, could they come look out? And like, the police took their guns out. They're going to shoot at it, but they didn't because like it was a UFO. They couldn't and then they, long story short, they told the military brushed it off as like, military exercises. Of course, there's like a nearby, where the balloons, there's a nearby Air Force base, Pease Air Force Base. And it's like,
what the Air Force Base is up there.
Yeah.
They're like what you guys saw was just our exercise, and we can recreate it, but meanwhile whatever exercise that was done, that there really was an exercise that night, but it had ended an hour before the kids saw the lights, so it couldn't have been that.
Weird.
So then they were recreating their exercise, whatever. It's like and the police officer was talking to the Army guy. He's like, oh, so tell us when you guys start the exercise. Like, oh, it's been going on. It's happening right now. I'm like, what? And they all like laughed at the military guys. You guys are full of, they all are like, they were mocked. They laughed at them. It's like, you guys are nuts. And then eventually the Air Force said, what these guys saw that night can't be explained. So they admitted that they're lying the whole time. They're just trying to cover it up, So it's a real story, and so long story short, I drew before this happened. I just kind of randomly, a few years ago, they renamed the UFO to now it's UAPs now, so unidentified aerial phenomena.
Okay.
So I drew this. Let's see if I can present this logo here.
Okay. Was this for the show?
No. This is the name change inspired me to draw this. Let me just share it again here. 1 second.
So how was while you're doing that, how was the actual festival? Like, do they got people dressed up like as aliens?
Yeah, it was like, every store, it was kind of like
running around probing people. I don't know.
No. It was basically every storefront was selling their own version of like alien wear, like alien socks, sunglasses. Is
it just like a bunch of stores like sell it like a block party kind of thing, or
yeah, kind of like the we had here in Leominster, the summer stroll.
Okay, but it's all like alien themed and like UFOs and stuff.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
Exactly, but they also had
How far of a ride is that? Is it a long?
Basically, right next to the Hampton Beach area, so it's like an hour.
Okay, not too bad.
Yeah, and so
going to Roswell.
Yeah, right. And
is it worth going to, or?
Well, I didn't do the entire. So I went Sunday, and I think Sunday was kind of winding down. But they also had here's my UFO drawing.
Yeah, can you make that bigger, or like?
Yeah, can you
maximize it?
That's great.
Yeah, I like it, dude. It's good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Where'd it go? There it is.
Yeah, there you go. Ah, perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. So Harry's a logo artist, Ken. So
yeah,
I was going to say you're really good at logos. So
yeah,
that looks good.
Thanks.
I like it though. I like how you did the phenomenon words, how they're like kind of getting smaller as it gets more into the ship and bigger as it's hitting the ground. It's got like that forced perspective kind of look. It's really cool.
I figure it could be like a cool T-shirt or whatever. So.
Yeah, dude,
or whatever you want to make it.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to, like I said, set up at shows and do stuff like that. People love that,
Be a cool sticker or magnet.
Did we lose Johnny? Oh wait,
no, I'm still here.
Oh, there he is. Oh, okay.
He's back.
Yeah, sorry.
So that I was going to say too. They also have a trolley or a little one of those like double-decker buses things that take you to the actual route that the kid took.
Oh, okay.
They take you to the barn.
Is there any like landmarks, or is it more?
Yeah, right. No, they have.
Okay.
Yeah, so they take you. It's like a
Like, here's the spot where he
exactly
shit his
right,
pants.
exactly. So I missed all that, and there's like a weird. There was a weird in the town hall. If you go up, it's a like art gallery. I'm like, oh, cool. I can check out some artwork. And I went to the second floor. No artwork on the walls, but they're showing a film strip of the some woman telling a story of
a
what
film
happened.
that was made about the incident, basically.
Exactly right. Yeah. So it's.
Did they ever make a movie about that, or is it?
I don't know if there's a movie, but I saw. I was looking it up on
Fire
YouTube.
in the Sky about?
Yeah, was that about that incident or no?
I think it's about those.
It was different. It was a different guy.
Maybe that was the other one.
Yeah.
Well, I know the comics. Tinian had that Blue Book comic that covered the other incident, the Hills. But I don't know if he covered this one.
So one of the people there that had a table there. She's like, hey, can I interest you in like a T-shirt or whatever? I'm like, oh no. It's like, do you know? Have you ever heard? Trying to get me at my attention. It's like, have you ever heard of the Betty and Barney Hill story? I'm like, yeah, but do you know which came first, Betty and Barney Hill or Betty and Barney Rubble? It's like, I can't tell you. I don't know.
That's a weird trivia.
That's a very weird gotcha sales tactic.
Yeah. Harry, were the T-shirts good, or were they like those cheesy like Hampton Beach
well, here's the
terrible
thing.
logo things?
So the ones that I saw were kind of cheesy. So that's why I think if like, let's say I showed this logo there, or maybe
it would already be better than half the shit they sell.
Anybody that has alien like comic.
Let me ask you this: Did
Yeah.
they have a shirt with Calvin pissing on an alien or something?
No, but that also is better than what I saw there.
Okay.
So
that's what I picture with Hampton Beach and all that stuff. They always
Airbrushed.
had-
Airbrushed.
Airbrush.
That's right. Yeah.
it was also to pique your interest though. If you want to go next year, they have like it's like a cool little community. They have like bars and restaurants and things you can all hang out and like drink.
I'd be willing to go to that. I'm sure Amy would love to go to that.
It's
She's
a
like,
cool
Can I
area.
buy nunchucks there?
Maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Alien.
Fill your ninja collection, Johnny.
I
Yeah,
need to buy some ninja stars to go with it.
yeah. So, and the other weird thing that's going on that I could talk about is I got picked to do another commercial. So,
Commercial like for like your artwork in a commercial.
no,
or
like a
you
commercial.
to be in a commercial.
Yeah,
You're
right.
gonna be in a commercial.
As an extra. I don't know how it's gonna work or whatever, but
Okay, what is the commercial for?
So somehow I found myself on this weird mailing list, and I get these offers every now and then, and I can choose if I want to do it or not. So this one is you gotta send in like a headshot of yourself and like you're like a headshot and like a full length body shot and whatever. So I sent them in. I'm like, here you go. And like, all right, they picked you. You're going to be one of the extras in this commercial. It's going to be a Boston Celtics commercial of you shooting hoops in the background with other people, maybe playing like a pickup game or shooting hoops. And it's for a Boston Celtics commercial for Amica Bank. So
do you play basketball at all? Are you proficient? Like, can you dribble?
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I've been playing for months with my little nephew. I've been teaching him how to play, so I can't shoot. I've been shooting. So,
Right.
and I don't know if they're aware of my height, but I'm only 5'6", So hopefully I won't be like I'll be like the Muggsy Bogues of like the NBA or something. I even think Muggsy Bogues is taller than me.
Wow. So when is this happening?
This is Wednesday actually. So I took the day off.
Oh,
So I
wow.
figured I'd take the day off. I get
Next time we're
PTO.
live, we'll have to hear about the whole.
Yeah,
situation.
hopefully we'll see how it goes. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I can't. I played, for obviously because of my height, not in the NBA, but like town league basketball. So
Yeah.
if I were 2 feet taller, maybe I consider being a basketball player. But,
Amy's been doing some of I guess she might be on the same list as you are
or something.
with
I don't know. Yeah.
with extra work and things like that. But
Oh,
she's supposed to do a fan film for some guys making like a Halloween fan film.
oh, cool.
She's supposed to be one of the characters in it. I don't know when it's happening, but it's
the movie Halloween or Halloween in general.
Yeah, the movie Halloween, like how they make fan films and stuff. Like
Oh,
someone
right.
just gets a Michael Myers mask and they make their own story. She's going to be in one of those, which could be kind of fun.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why I'd want to do it, because it's fun. I just saw over the weekend. I saw Beetlejuice.
I did too. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Did you guys see it?
I didn't. I
Saw it
didn't,
last Thursday.
I didn't like
You didn't
it.
like it?
Oh, I'll tell you why in a second. But
Tell us without being spoilery, because it's
kind
of new.
So I saw this. My real estate agent gave us free tickets because she's actually an extra in that movie. She's like walking,
cool.
like during the scene where what's her name, Wednesday Adams. I forget.
When she's
Jenna
biking
Ortega.
through the neighborhood.
Exactly right. There's a woman
I
walking.
saw some very familiar locations.
That was shot in Melrose, Massachusetts. My sister lives there. And
Oh, really?
And
Oh,
the
okay, I
house.
didn't know that.
The house that the ghost boy lived in. I mean, I don't want to. Sorry, there's a character in the movie. That's an abandoned, but like it's a no one lives there in this house. It's like a for sale or whatever. So it's in Melrose, and it's like right near one of her neighbors' houses. So basically, all the houses in the city in the town are filled in Melrose.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I did look very Massachusetts to me, but I didn't know
that whole North Shore area, like Salem, Massachusetts, Melrose, like they have like cool little Victorian-looking houses and things. It's kind of cool. But so she gave us free tickets to promote her real estate business and the movie. So
oh, cool.
But I didn't
thought
like
it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a solid sequel. Like
it was good. But the reason why I didn't like it is because in the original movie, like what's her name, the Winona Ryder character, she was like, I guess because she could see ghosts and she was like a strong character. And this one, she's like beholden to this guy that she feels like she's going to settle for, like marry him, whatever. Like she would never, like, why would she do that? Like settle for this weirdo guy that, and then
I bought into it. I guess I could see what you're saying there, but I bought into it, especially with her, the backstory with her other husband and things like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So and the Maureen, or what's her name, O'Hara. She stole the
Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara. She stole the movie. She was basically like Moira Rose in that movie.
Yeah.
But her husband, though, we all know the guy, that the actor that they didn't invite back.
Because Jeffrey Wright, or was it? No, is it no?
The guy that was in
his real name, but
Ferris Bueller's Day Off's principal.
Yeah, Ed Rooney.
Yeah, that guy. So like that whole storyline didn't have to be in there. They could have they made I don't want to say too much, but they have him in. They have him represented in that movie, and that whole story didn't have to be a thing. Why is he in there? Like,
no,
why
get it.
Why almost pay tribute to the guy that was like not invited back? Like I don't know.
Well, I think they wanted to address because he was part of their family. So, like, I don't know.
I like the way they handled that.
I thought so. Johnny, did you like it? I thought it was a lot of fun. Really solid.
I thought it was fun. It was well made. It was enjoyable. I thought it was poorly written.
Did you really?
I thought it was poorly written. I thought there was some. I thought the best parts were the parts that Michael Keaton obviously improvised as Beetlejuice,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of where he excelled in the original film too.
The juice is loose.
There's this character that's synonymously him, and you can't nobody else could play Beetlejuice. You know what I mean? The same way, like nobody else could play Freddy Krueger. They tried, it didn't work.
Did you mean do you mean the writing, like the dialogue, or
some of the dialogue, some of the story beats, like were
what, Johnny,
brainless in some ways.
Along those lines, it was like at least 4 or 5 stories happening at once. There was like the story.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I thought they did a great job of juggling all these multiple storylines, and then it all kind of came together at the end.
They did. Yeah, I like that part. But even the way it was, like everything came together at the end, it was resolved so quick. It was almost like Whiplash.
A little bit,
what I mean?
Yeah.
But my favorite part was the Beetlejuice origin story, which isn't a spoiler.
It was great.
Yeah,
it was all
my
done in
favorite
like
part,
that Mario Bava style, which is
and it was in Italian, which I loved. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
It's written by, and I'm surprised you didn't know this, Harry. It's written by the guys that created Smallville.
Oh yeah, actually, I did know that. I did know that.
And Gog, and then I think they're also the driving force behind the Wednesday show too. So I knew the writing was going to be good.
Right.
Like I knew they were going to handle it.
I didn't like the writing. I thought there was like a lot of little plot holes and things and fridge
I
logic.
guess I'd have to see it again, but I was engrossed. I loved it. I don't know.
No, I love and Willem Dafoe was amazing.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I guess you haven't seen it yet, right?
No.
No.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the original, don't. Yeah, if you're a fan of the original, you'll enjoy this one for sure.
No,
I thought they had there was no way they were going to ever live up to the first one, and they kind of did. In my eyes, you know.
To me, it was no Top Gun Maverick, but it was close.
Yeah, it was very close, and I like that it's a Halloween movie too. So like you could kind of has that vibe now.
I hope it does carry it through the Halloween season, like September, October. I hope it stays in the box office.
So
I
clearly
hope it doesn't. Yeah.
Clearly, there's got to be a third movie because the first movie is called Beetlejuice.
I kind of hope they stop right there. But
well, I'm theorizing that because
I wonder if they do it, that might be without Burton, though, right? You think he'd do it? You think he'd come back for that?
The third movie should be called Lydia, Lydia, Lydia.
Right? Yeah, it was good. I recommended everyone to check it out. Johnny, did you have anything you wanted to promote this week? You got any appearances? You got anything updates on your comics?
I feel bad dragging the episode out.
No, I mean,
longer
we'll end it as soon as you give us an update. But it's like I'm fine, I'm fine.
Yeah. So I'll do it real quick for everybody watching. So So this really is actually a shout out to Liam Early. I'm getting messages of people who they're not really sure where to pick up Surrounded by Death because it's not like it's in a comic store. There's a few stores that do hold copies, but like the place to go online is my Big Cartel store.
Okay.
So I just want to take a quick minute to share that page for people, and so I did update it.
You got a link too? You throw it.
Yeah, I'll post the link. But I just want to give a quick moment. I updated it recently to reflect that it's now the volume 1 cover.
Oh, nice.
So it's volume 1 of Surrounded by Death.
Yeah.
It's on my Big Cartel page. I'm going to post the link.
Speaking of cool covers, that's pretty cool.
Thanks.
Yeah,
awesome. That cover is Mark Alvarado from Texas. He did this really, really sweet cover that collects issues 1 and 2 in the epilogue, and makes this nice little 84-page trade. And so on my Big Cartel page, you can get Surrounded by Death Volume 1, and there's an option for the coffee add-on. So if if you're familiar with the story and you know about the coffee add-on, or if you had some of the coffee at one of the conventions, you can get it through this page right here. And if here, I'm going to actually swap and show a different screen real quick. And here is the store page. Okay. So I have a Big Cartel store page.
Oh, cool.
So one of the things you can get here, not a lot of people see these designs. I need to really promote this a little bit better, but you can get Sartana issues 1 and 2 here.
Yeah.
You have your Surrounded by Death Volume 1. I did this really awesome shirt done by my Sartana artist. Basically it's a mashup of the Three Stooges and the War Boys from Mad Max. So it's curly. Awesome. Yeah, it's curly as Nux. And then you have Larry and Moe as his 2 little cancerous tumors. And then it has the phrase, and he's got the silver around his mouth. So
that is got deep cut mashup or whatever you call it.
That's great, dude.
Two franchises I never thought would cross over.
I know, right? So
this is the closest they've ever been together.
Right. So it's a very, very deep cut. I mean, I think I've maybe sold like 2 or 3 of these shirts, but I need to do more with that design and that stuff. That's my artist from Sartana.
Definitely, like, promote it every time we're live or whatever. Someone will see that and want that.
Yeah, for sure. And then I have 2 other shirts that are, spoofs. So when I always thought Man of Steel was very much a allegory for Jesus.
Yeah.
So once again, my Sartana artist did Space Jesus off that, that seminal Jesus pose. And it's, beholding all of his righteousness and glory. He died for Batfleck's sins. and then I have another spoof shirt. So I put these out when Batman versus Superman came out, and we have our Batfleck shirt. And what makes this unique is if you look, the Batfleck logo actually has Ben Affleck's like chin, his 5 o'clock shadow, and his douchey smirk.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's something like Harry would have come up with.
Yeah, right. I'm jealous that you gave me.
Yeah. So that's all available in my big cartel store.
Hey, Johnny,
so
you might be able to partner with Harry and make some more shirt designs. If
maybe.
Hey, come up with like a wacky idea like that or something again.
Yeah.
Those are fun, man. Those are fun.
Dude. Yeah.
Those are great. I never knew you had those. Like, I think I saw did you have a Batfleck shirt, right?
Yeah, so I did do a shirt at one point,
but I thought you had
every so often
from somewhere else. I didn't know that was yours.
No, well, it was ours to an extent. So Joe Martinez illustrated that one specifically. He didn't have to do much. He just kind of had to adjust the chin and the face and the 5 o'clock shadow and a little bit of the Batfleck logo.
Though. It's a great idea, man.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like it. Awesome.
Yeah. But also I want to take one other moment to Ken. Thank you for riding it out through the whole show.
Yeah, really.
Really appreciate you hanging out. That's really cool if you did.
Yeah, you're only like the second or third guest to ever do it, which is kind of
it's like eating
to talk to. It's very conversational.
It's like eating the eating the 76er. You made it. You've lasted to the
We should have like the guests who make it to the very end. Like a secret club of those guys. You know what I mean?
Right?
We all get Batfleck t-shirts.
You all get Batfleck t-shirts.
Yeah.
Or the ludicrous shirt that you're wearing.
The ludicrous shirt.
I saw this when she posted that thing about about somebody ripping her off, and I'm like, that shirt's awesome. I want that. So I followed her link to TeePublic. I bought it that morning while I was sitting at Terrificon. Scott and I were sitting at the Hash House of Go-Go, and I ordered it right as I was sitting there, right after I read the post.
I love it. That shirt started as a conversation, I think, with Amy saying, like, I wonder what like a real bear would look like with boxer gloves, like based off boxer bear. And then she just wrote ludicrous, so it's pretty funny.
So then she answered the question with ludicrous, right?
Yeah, right.
But that's kind of what sold me on the shirt too. It was, I mean, the bear is awesome.
Yeah,
really. The label is what really sold it for me.
I know, it's great. Good stuff. All right, yeah, let's end this one, guys. We've been going like 2 hours and 40 minutes, which doesn't seem like that long, but I know the audience is probably getting a little tired. We're worn out our welcome a little bit tonight.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit.
I know I have.
We still have a bunch of people watching, but
I could keep going. I could talk about the AEW pay-per-view from this past weekend where the two main events were attempted murder at the end.
Oh my God.
Wait, what?
Oh, watch it.
Okay.
Oh, it's special.
Is it really? It's good.
Oh, there's literally attempted murder that happens at the end of the two main event matches.
Really? Okay.
You're not talking about
like legit, like two wrestlers like legit hated each other that really want.
No,
I don't know. No, I think it's in kayfabe, but it's just like the things they did were very brutal that don't fall under the typical umbrella of wrestling.
What happened, Keith, was 3 different wrestlers brought 3 crows to the arena.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up. Thank you for joining with us. I think we're going back to weekly, I think, after this week. I don't know. Let me just take a quick look while we're talking here. Yeah, we're live for the next 2 weeks in a row. Next week we have Keith Gleason, which is a comedian, like who's making his first comic.
Cool.
I think that's how you say it. Keith Gleason, maybe. And then the week after that, we got Frank Martin, Brandon from Dismay Comics, and Patrick Coyle. So we got a packed week there. Nice. So I'll have to figure out some topic that we can kind of talk about during that there in that episode, because I
It's
feel
always
like
better when we keep it loose, though. You know, like even we tried to do covers. We talked a little bit about covers, but it was really just kind of a chit chat anyway. Right?
like throw a subject in there, and then we can kind of play off of it. With 3 guests, it kind of helps where you just have one thing to talk about. I think but yeah, and then so join us. We'll be live for the next 2 Mondays in a row. Yeah, I'm all set, guys. If you guys any other final words before we end this one?
Just thanks for having me.
Yeah,
thanks for
hanging out.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming on.
All right, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you next Monday.